right. Good evening, everyone. It is 6:33. I call the meeting to order. Mauricio?
Vice Mayor Lama,
Here.
Commissioner Joseph,
Present.
Commissioner Stuyvesant,
Here.
Commissioner Viscara,
Here.
Mayor Svechin,
Here.
all members present, ma'am.
Okay, great. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Could we first say something about the
I will.
FSU?
Let's do Pledge of Allegiance
Yes,
first.
okay.
Lou, would you like to lead us in Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We usually have an invocation. We don't today, but I would just like to have a moment of silence for the victims, their families, and those that are injured at FSU today. We can just all have a moment. Thank you. Mauricio?
Okay, first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes. This is for the regular city commission meetings of January 16th, February 20th, March 20th, and the special commission meeting on April 3rd.
Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor? Opening statement, Mauricio?
Yes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate your attendance and thank you for joining us tonight. Before we begin, there are a few important reminders regarding conduct during our commission meetings. Please ensure all electronic devices are turned off or set to silent mode to maintain the integrity of our proceedings. Mutual respect is the foundation of productive discussions. We ask that everyone remain silent and attentive when someone is addressing the commission. Clapping, applauding, heckling, or any verbal outbursts, either in support or opposition of the speaker, are strictly prohibited. Any individual wishing to address the commission must fill out a public speaker's card and submit it to the city clerk before the relevant item is announced. Each speaker is granted a maximum of 3 minutes. Should you exceed this time, the chair will notify you to conclude your remarks. Speak directly to the agenda's points. Remain concise and avoid redundancy. Should an individual speak without the chair's permission or continue speaking after a warning, they may be escorted out of the chambers. It is essential to avoid making impertinent, slanderous remarks or becoming boisterous while addressing the commission. Such behavior may lead to being barred from future commission appearances, unless the majority of the commission members present vote otherwise. The presiding officer may disallow signs or placards in the commission chamber. Please exit the chamber quietly and without disruption. The goal of our meetings is to facilitate public input and participation. However, disruptive or disorderly conduct hinders our collective objective. Individuals who want to speak on an item on the agenda are asked to fill out a public speaker's card and give it to the city clerk before the item is called. Speakers are asked to speak to the issues, make comments concise and to the point, and refrain from making duplicate comments. All speakers will be limited to 1 3-minute comment per item. If you exceed the 3-minute allotment, the chair will advise you to finish your comment. If you speak out of turn without permission from the chair and/or you do not cease speaking after 1 warning, you will be escorted out of chambers. In order to maintain orderly conduct and/or proper decorum at these meetings, anyone who interferes with the orderly process of the meetings after a warning may be removed from the meeting and may be barred from further appearance before the City Commission, as permitted in S-286, 0114, FS and SS 74-5 and 74-21 of the City's Code of Ordinances. Any necessary removal will be made at the direction of the mayor and will be carried out by law enforcement or a designated sergeant at arms. It is essential that attendees adhere to these rules of procedure to ensure productive meetings that serve both the public and the City Commission. Thank you for your cooperation and understanding.
Okay, great, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I know there's not a lot of people in the audience, but I do want to remind you, for those of you that are here, if you're going to be speaking on an item, please go ahead and sign up now. We have a really lengthy agenda, so we're going to try to keep really strict to the rules of this body. With that, we're combining 9G, H, and I. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so first section is the order of business. There are only 2 revisions to the agenda. There was the ordinance that was provided for 6B, and then the resolution for, I'm sorry, I had it here, for the FDOT item was revised to include language that the city is seeking to terminate the existing agreement with FDOT.
Okay.
Okay, so I just need a motion to approve those.
Can I have a motion,
additions.
please?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Perfect, thank you. So we are on to section 5, zoning, and I'll read the introductory statement. Ladies and gentlemen, this evening's agenda has 2 zoning applications. In these matters, the commission sits in a quasi-judicial capacity. The decision of whether or not to approve a zoning variance is not a popularity contest, but must be based upon substantial competent evidence as it is presented tonight. If you intend to provide testimony on any zoning application, you must be sworn in by the city clerk, and you should also fill out a public speaker's card and give it to the city clerk before the item is called. We will first hear from city staff and then from the applicant. After this, the mayor will allow anyone from the audience who has been sworn in to provide testimony. The zoning applicant has the right to cross-examine any witnesses and for rebuttal. Please make sure that your comments are concise. So the preamble, excuse me. So in accordance with the LDRs of the City of Sunny Isles Beach, all notices regarding this item have been posted on the properties and published in the adequate notices. Anyone wishes to speak, please raise your right arm to be sworn in. Anyone else? Okay, do you swear the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. So item 5A is a request of VF Florida Realty for site plan modification balcony enclosure for the property located at 17749 Collins Avenue, Unit 402.
And City Clerk, could you please read the companion item 9A for the TDRs?
Yes, thank you. 9A is a resolution approving the purchase and assignment of transfer development rights in the amount of 313 square feet of floor area ratio and 0 dwelling units from the city's public TDR bank account to VV Florida Realty LLC. And before Amy starts, are there any ex parte communications for this item?
No.
No.
Thank you.
Okay. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commissioners. This is application PZ 2025-06 for a balcony enclosure at the Mansions at Aquilina project, specifically for Unit 402. The request is to modify the approved site plan for the mansions and to purchase and assign transfer of development rights from the city's public TDR bank account to increase the floor area of Unit 402 by 313 square feet. The price for purchasing the TDRs will be a total of $39,125. The site plan modification will increase the overall floor area of the mansions at Aquilina Development from 435,386 square feet to 435,699 square feet. Here is the existing floor plan for Unit 402, and highlighted in the bottom left is where the western balcony is currently located. And this is the proposed floor plan, which will convert the balcony into a bedroom. If this application is approved, the remaining floor area available for purchase through the TDRs for the mansions at Aquilina is 92,492 square feet. So additional balconies can continue to be enclosed should they be requested. This request is consistent with the comprehensive plan and land development regulations, and I am available if you have any questions.
Okay. Anyone have questions from the committee? No?
No. Straightforward.
Okay. I'll take a motion.
Motion.
Se- Okay. Mauricio? Oh, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, next item.
Next item is 5B, request of Yuta Gabi for variances for a single-family home located at 201 189 Terrace.
Okay, this application is PZ 2025-04 for variances related to a new single-family home located at 201 189 Terrace. The applicant is the owner, Yehuda Gabe, and the property is 7,933 square feet in size and is zoned R1. The site is currently vacant and it is a corner lot with frontage on Atlantic Boulevard and 189 Terrace. The requested variances are related to the construction of a new single-family home. That's not my presentation. The application contains 6 variance requests, and I'll briefly walk through each of them. The first is to consider the widest street frontage as the front lot line instead of the narrowest. This will result in the home facing Atlantic Boulevard instead of 189 Terrace, and the front setback will be established on Atlantic Boulevard. The second variance is to reduce the street side pool setback on 189 Terrace from 17 feet to 4 feet and 11 inches. And the remaining 4 variances are all related to roof overhangs, specifically to allow the roof overhangs to encroach into the front yard by 4 feet 10 inches, the street side yard by 3 feet, and the rear yard by 2 feet, and the side yard by 4 feet. I do have a different presentation that has photos I would like to display. I wanted to show pictures of the right-of-way of the project. So the property's frontage on Atlantic Avenue. In that right-of-way, there's different right-of-way elements, like there's a street light, a fire hydrant, some electrical and meter boxes. And it's not part of the variance request, but I just wanted to put this on the record for transparency purposes that if the variance is approved for the home to face Atlantic Boulevard, then during the permitting process, the driveway will not be able to interfere with any of these right-of-way elements. So it's not part of the variance application, but I just wanted to place that on the record and display this photograph.
Can you
Those things
explain
are
that, please?
Those are on Atlantic?
Yes, so this is Atlantic Boulevard. This is the property's eastern property line where the fence is. So between the fence and the road pavement, there's a street light, there's different electrical transformer boxes and a fire hydrant. And the driveway will not be able to impede with any of these elements. So that comment would need to be addressed during the permitting process.
And they want the front of the house to be like behind that lamppost?
That's right, yeah, the house would be facing this street.
Okay.
Should that variance request be
I understand.
approved. Okay, and this is the front elevation, and highlighted in red are the roof overhangs. So finally, this request is not consistent with the land development regulations. There are 7 specific criteria in the code that variance applications must meet, which are related to hardships and special conditions related to the property. This application does not meet the 7 criteria, as a new home can be reasonably constructed on the property and meet the existing regulations. However, that said, granting the variance is not injurious to the neighborhood and would not otherwise be detrimental to public safety and welfare, and would not substantially diminish or impair property values within the vicinity. With that, I'm available if you have questions.
So we talked about this during the workshop, but I wanted to, again, have, for the people that are here, have this conversation. So what is the reasoning behind not allowing the entrance on Atlantic? What was the thinking before?
Sure, so that's because of the definition of front lot line, and that's really a planning tool to make sure that when you're creating new subdivisions and building new single-family home developments, that all of the homes are oriented the same way. In this specific area in Golden Shores, the corner lot properties, many of them were built prior to incorporation of the city. Some of them face Atlantic, some of them face the internal side streets. So there's kind of a mix currently in Golden Shores. But that's the reason for that regulation.
And the house that's across from them, is facing which way?
To the south is facing Atlantic, and the house to the north is facing Atlantic.
Okay, and to the east?
Here I have an aerial.
Oh, right, okay, perfect. Let's keep that.
And to the east are the Atlantic 15
Which are all
townhomes.
facing Atlantic?
Mhm.
Okay.
And those are all rentals.
No, they're not.
Well,
Okay,
except-
Commissioner Viscar, did you want to go first since you,
Um,
the first question?
I think the applicant presents next.
Did the
They
applicant want to
have
speak?
something, yeah.
Yes, okay.
Basically, we would like to request that variance since, because the condition is happening already in some of the lots around the area.
Sorry, we
And-
can't hear you.
I'm so sorry,
Yes.
I was too far away.
That's much better, thank you.
And I'm sorry,
Um,
can you give your name and?
My name is Maria Troches from Toma Design Group. We are the firm who is designing this project. Regarding the first variance, as I was telling you, we would like to request this because the client wants to orient the more important spaces of the house towards the south side of the property. So the more convenient location for the entrance is going to be facing Atlantic. And since this condition is happening already in some lots in the area, and is not detrimental to the neighbors, we would like to request the redefinition of or to allow the widest side of the lot to be the front side of our project.
Okay. Commissioner Viscar, do you want to start with some questions? No?
For the applicant, no, I don't have any questions.
No? But for Amy,
Excuse
do
me?
you have any questions?
I don't have any questions.
Oh, okay.
No,
Commissioner Joseph?
no, I don't have any questions.
Commissioner Stevenson?
Are we going variance by variance, or? I mean,
We can
'cause
go.
I don't have any
Amy,
questions
Amy,
regarding
would you
this
mind coming
variance.
so that we have clarification, if you don't mind? So in order, because we talked about this during the agenda review, but, so we're voting for all 6 variances or one by one? How is this going to be decided? Please.
There's technically only one vote, but you can all discuss as the Planning and Zoning Director had explained in some of the one-on-one meetings. Obviously, all of them are predicated on the first one with the orientation.
Right.
They all trickle down after that. So obviously, you can all discuss them separately. Initially, I mean, at some point, you'll have one vote on one resolution, and you can tell us. So if there's only 3 of them that are approved.
Got it.
So we'll modify the resolution as needed, but it'll be essentially one vote.
Okay,
But
well,
you should discuss them separately so we have clarity.
all right, so I'll start with the front entrance. I'm supportive of that because I think it does make sense for that part of the neighborhood. Frankly, for anything that's facing Atlantic should probably be facing that way if they so choose. My concern is with the pool setback. Took it down. Can I see it back up? Yeah. Thank you. No, it's better this way. The pool setback and how when we have the front now facing Atlantic, it changes the setback to the neighbors to the north. Have they given you any indication that they have any issues with this? Has anyone reached out to them since it's going to be so much closer?
The city has not received any communication. I'm not
No,
sure
not
if the
the
applicant.
city. I don't mean the city. The applicant. Has the applicant spoken to the neighbors to the north? Because changing the orientation of the entrance, in effect, allows for less of a setback now because it's going to be the side rather than the backyard, correct?
Yes, correct. We have not contacted the neighbors to expose this situation, but I mean, the reason we want to locate the pool at this area is because that's the preferred location, and it's gonna provide more privacy to our client to have the pool deck in the side where there's no neighbor. So I don't think it's going to be disturbing for the neighbor on the other side of the
No,
property.
my point is that now where you're gonna have the AC units and have all, those items, they are gonna be much closer to the neighbor to the north because the setback is different.
Oh, okay.
Do you see what I'm saying? So
yes.
if, once the entrance changes
Yes.
to the front,
Yes.
now the setback to the north
I understand what
is
you're saying.
shorter.
Yeah.
So the house is then in effect
Well,
closer.
if the neighbor has a problem with that, we don't have any problem to relocate the machines to a quieter area.
Yeah, okay. Anyone else?
Yeah, I have a question. It's regarding the pool too. You mentioned privacy. Obviously, you know, there's privacy concerns, but having the pool there as well, I think there's privacy concerns there because obviously people are probably going to be walking around. A lot of people walk around that neighborhood, and it could be accessible to somebody that may see that there's a pool there. So did the owner ever consider perhaps placing the pool on the other side, the opposite side of the house to the north?
Yes, we talk about that with our client, but because the way the functional program is designed, it's not going to be functional to locate the pool in that area. So that's our client's preferred location. That's what's going to meet our client's needs. To mitigate what you say about the privacy, we are proposing to put a privacy wall to the height that is allowed by the code, and some special, dense landscaping in order to provide a visual barrier between the pool and the exterior.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to, right now, obviously, there's a grassy area there that belongs to the city, but just keep in mind that eventually, you never know if there's going to be sidewalks built there, so I just want the owner to be aware of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I just want to mention that I know from 189th Street North, there are single-family houses, but on the east side of Atlantic, south from 189th Street, those are all rentals. So I just want the owner to be aware that this house is not zoned for rental. Is that correct?
You can rent out your house.
That's not correct.
Well, no, I mean for split rentals, like on the east side of Atlantic. Aren't those zoned differently, the east side of Atlantic?
I believe Commissioner Joseph is referring to the duplexes.
Yes.
Right, on the east side of Atlantic, that's a different zoning district. That's
Yes.
RTH, which
Okay.
allows more than one dwelling unit per acre, but this is zoned R1,
Okay,
which
fine.
is one
And that would
single-family
remain
home.
that cannot be changed, correct?
Unless there was an application and you approved it.
Okay,
Mhm.
but as of now, that's single family. Okay.
Anyone else? Okay, so again, I'm very supportive of the entrance on Atlantic. The pool, I think, is going to be an issue. I think it really would work better, like the rest of the pools in the neighborhood, which are out, away from the sidewalk. The overhangs, I think, are a good idea because as much shade as you can create, that's fine, and it doesn't encroach on any neighbors as far as I can see. It's just going out into the street. Those are my comments. But how everyone else is just in agreement or not?
No.
You guys are being very quiet.
No. I don't see the need. There's no hardship. It doesn't meet
Okay.
any of the standards. And you can have the same house facing the way it's supposed to face. I understand that, it's a transitioning neighborhood, but as the other homes are redeveloped, which I assume eventually they will be, then it'll be uniform, it'll self-correct, So I'm not, I don't see the need. It's a preference, and I understand that, but we don't have to make an exception for preferences. And also, now with the light post and everything else, we're probably gonna have to come back and have to have more variances because of those issues that we didn't know about, so. This is not a surprise. I always vote no on variances, so don't take it personally. So I'm a no on
Okay.
everything.
All right. Please come to that microphone.
I think we don't have any problem with the poles and all that stuff. We can definitely change the driveway design to do not interfere with that. But the location and the orientation of the house, it also has to do with the type of architecture that we want to try to propose, which is a tropical modern architecture. And this kind of architecture is focused on propose a design that is sensitive to the environmental conditions, and therefore we need these overhangs and cantilevers, and obviously this creates a lot of movement in the architecture design, and the preference is to show that to the public because that's going to be the more beautiful part of the house, the
Do you
open
do you have a
areas.
rendering of the house?
Excuse
Do
me?
you have a rendering of the design?
Yes,
here?
are the last images.
There is a presentation submitted by the applicant, if that could be showed on the screen. Thank you.
And I knew Commissioner Viscar was going to be a no.
I'm very
She's
predictable.
consistent, but I will say that I do think that it's a better design to have an entrance on Atlantic because it's consistent with the rest of that street. And for instance, my house, my address is on Atlantic, and my house was built how long ago? Many years ago.
These are the renderings.
Okay.
Okay, so
As I
Yes.
mentioned, this is a tropical modern architecture, which combines, modern
So
principles.
walk us through the other variances. So the overhang that creates the shade, where is that?
It's at the south and to the front. Those are
Mhm.
the main cantilevers or overhangs.
Okay.
And that creates, shade. It promotes like a more energy efficient house, and therefore the terraces and the pool areas, the preference location is to be next to those cantilevers because it provides shade and more environmental conditions for that kind of activities. This is the front. This is the area where the pool is going to be located.
So right there to the north, that would be the street, correct?
To the south.
That's the south.
South, sorry.
The south and the east.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's a wall, and then I was told there was going to be a fence above the wall, no?
Yeah, we would like to propose a privacy wall in
Mhm.
order to create,
Right.
a visual barrier between the pool and the exterior.
And that wall is how tall?
It's going to be 6 feet high, which
6
is
feet.
allowed by the code.
Yeah, Amy, could you clarify that? Because 6 feet doesn't seem like it's going to
Uh,
create any privacy.
Just to be clear, along street frontages, you can have a 4-foot solid wall and then a 2-foot railing or picket on top. So not a 6-foot solid wall. You can have
Okay.
a 4-foot solid
So-
wall.
But the 6
6
feet
feet
is
overall
from the
is not
ground.
gonna-
Where does it start? Because I'm assuming
From
that is
grade,
from grade.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, so
from the
that's-
grade of the property, yeah.
from the grade of the property.
Right, not from the grade of the
Mm.
right-of-way. So they may elevate the property slightly for flood impacts. So it'll be calculated from the grade of the property of the home.
Okay.
So that's not going to stop lookovers.
Yeah, a walking person is not going to be able to
Okay.
look inside because it's going to be in a lower level.
Okay.
We also want to propose some landscaping to help.
Mhm.
Um,
And you're not going to have a gate in the front?
we're going to have a gate for the garage.
You are going to have a gate. I didn't see it in
Yes.
the rendering.
Mhm.
Okay.
I
I
do
don't
have a
think-
question now, actually. If you had the home with we'll call it the normal orientation, right, the one that you don't want, would you need a variance for the pool?
that's something that would require us to, we need to play around with the design in order to answer that question. But because the shape of the lot, the more convenient way to organize the functional program is on the long side of the lot.
Yeah.
Not the other way around. So it's going to make the design very difficult and intricate.
Okay.
So.
Okay, anyone else?
Can
I'm
you
supportive
go
of
one
allowing
slide
property owners to do, as much as possible, with their property, as long as it doesn't impede on the neighborhood and as long as it makes sense. To me, the front makes sense. The pool, not so much. And I do have a little bit of a concern that the neighbor has not been spoken to
With the air conditioning units.
with air conditioning units there and just being so close, because I believe
Right.
they have like a pergola or something.
The AC units can definitely be
No, I know,
relocated
but
somewhere else.
I don't know how loud the AC units are, but, it's just one of those things that sometimes
when they
gets
kick on.
overlooked, and then when it's built, we get complaints of, how did you let this happen?
And my
Okay.
question would remain the same, like if you had the normal orientation, would the air conditioner be a concern? Like, I'm not trying to be difficult because, I'm not gonna change my mind, but I think we need to be asking those questions.
I see what you're
You know.
saying, that if it was facing the street rather than the boulevard, the pool, everything else would be in
If we
place.
have these concerns based on this orientation, the
No,
question
well-
needs to be asked, are those concerns resolved when you when you keep the orientation the way it's supposed to be?
Yeah, I get it. It's
Yeah,
a good point.
but for me, I'm not looking to penalize the structure on that issue alone. So, as, someone that's built houses, I know that this is an excellent orientation for that particular property.
All right,
So
Commissioner
that's my
Sosa?
opinion.
The design is beautiful, the overhangs make sense. Issue of the setbacks is my issue. To go from 17 to 4 is a little bit too much.
Okay.
But the entrance to be on the south or on the east side doesn't make any difference. I think it's okay. Like I said,
Okay.
the design clearly is beautiful. Again, the overhangs as well. Not the setback. That is just like
Yes,
a
we
little bit
want
too
to
much.
propose a very, high-end house with a beautiful design. If the pool is an issue, we can work on that. But the cantilevers and the orientation of the house is definitely something that is going to save this project.
Okay. Vice Mayor, do you have any more input? We've got to figure out how we're
So
going to split this out.
I'm okay with the orientation. I love the design. It's great. And I'm also concerned with the location of the pool and the setbacks. But I'm okay with the rest, the cantilevers. I'm okay with the entrance on Atlantic. I drove by the property. It would be weird to have it facing on whatever that street is because the property's a little narrow, but on that side of the 201st, I can't
No,
remember.
189.
189. Sorry, 189. Yeah. So I'm okay with it. I would just like to see the pool if it could be put on the other side, inverted, and then work on the setbacks a little bit.
So
Okay, that's
what we
fine.
should do is then we should vote separately for each variance. Is that the best way to do it?
Technically, there's only one official vote because there's one resolution, but excuse me, you should treat each one separately and just get some ideas to whether.
All right, I think we have consensus here, with the exception of Commissioner Viscara, that we're okay with the Atlantic front entrance, correct? So we don't need to make a change to that. And we have consensus on the overhangs, except for Commissioner Viscara. She's a no on everything, so not even, okay. And we had concerns, I think all of us, with the setbacks, the pool as well, everyone? I have,
Well, the pool and
I
the
don't have a
setback.
problem
No,
with the
we are
pool,
not
except,
asking a
that's
variance for the
actually the owner's
setbacks.
problem.
okay.
The setback
As far as
is the same as
privacy.
the pool, correct?
Yeah, the only, the setback variance is related only to the pool, and then the roof overhangs are encroachments into the setbacks. So,
So the setback to the north, when you turn the orientation, doesn't that become a variance in effect because it's now changed? Do you see-
No, so because you change, if you approve the first variance, which establishes the front setback on Atlantic, all of the other setbacks fall into place. So now the north side is considered a side setback, and that's only 7.5 feet.
Okay, got it.
So that one does not require a variance per the plan that they proposed.
All right, and the house next to them is also facing Atlantic, so it's
Right.
consistent. Okay.
So
I
part
need-
of, part of what Commissioner Viscara was mentioning doesn't come into play.
Well, we need a motion to amend the resolution.
Right, so essentially you are approving the orientation of the house, the overhang setback encroachments. The only denial, it appears, would be the pool setback.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
And the location.
if I can say, the pool
The
setback
location, you're saying yes.
is the issue of the owner
No, the
regarding
location.
privacy.
Wait, hold on.
Sorry.
It's a privacy issue.
No, it's a setback because it's too far out.
Right, I understand, but that only creates a privacy issue for the owner, nothing else. It doesn't affect anything regarding the public.
Well, no, because if we have setbacks for all other properties, so you can't build past
No, I
that
understand.
setback. So they're
Yes.
getting it on the other side.
Well, that's the purpose for the variance.
Right.
For us to say yes to something.
Okay.
But practically speaking, it only creates an issue for the owner with privacy to the pool.
It's not just the privacy. They're getting the additional, how many feet? 4 feet?
Yes. But for
To-
me, I'm okay with that.
In living
be-
space,
Yeah,
basically, is
Right.
the point.
so I'm okay with that.
Okay. Vice Mayor, did you want to say something?
No, what I was going to clarify is that I would like to see the pool on the north side. of-
Right, so you're on the, you're saying no to the, you're saying no to the pool variance.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So is it clear?
It is if we, the only thing that on the pool, do we have 3 votes on the pool as a no?
3 votes on
I'm
the
a
pool.
no.
No, I know, yeah, I know you're a no.
Commissioner Viscara is a no. Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
So we're good? Do we need to?
You need to move as amended.
As amended. Okay, I need a motion.
So moved.
Need a second?
So we're motioning to not, we're
As
voting.
amended.
Okay, to knock down the entire
House?
variance.
No, 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 no.
No.
We're changing, we're okay with the front entrance, okay? We're okay with the overhang,
Okay, so we're asking them to go back and do something with the pool.
with, yes.
And the
Okay.
setbacks?
The setback of the pool, yes.
No, there is more setbacks, not only in the
No, all
pool.
the set-
The setbacks are the overhangs.
That's the overhangs.
No,
All
the
those are
overhangs-
setback encroachments, so the setback distances are fine, but they're encroaching into the setbacks with the overhangs.
Right.
The other ones are okay.
Yes.
To
It's
go
just-
from 17 to 4?
No, that's for the pool.
That's just the pool, so that's why I am against that one,
Right.
okay?
No,
So
I'm a no with everything as well. Yeah.
A no with everything?
Yeah.
So you're with Commissioner Viscara? Okay. It changed. All right, you made a motion. I need a second. Need a second.
No, I'm not
So
not
right
doing
now,
this.
okay, so,
So,
all right, I think in the future, we'll have to do 6 different resolutions.
Yes.
Because, so on the overhangs, what do you vote?
I'm looking for clarification here, because okay. What we should be asking this lady for is to go back and make this pool a little smaller, basically, right? To make it a little narrower,
it's not,
the pool.
not necessarily.
That's
It's-
that's everyone's issue.
No, the issue is the actual setback. Whether the pool is there, whether the pool's not there, that's up to them. They can decide not to have a pool at all. For me, it's the setback of the pool, the setback of the pool, not the location of the pool. If the pool was skinny, then I'd be okay with where it is. For me, it's the setback of the pool. I'm
Right.
okay with the front.
Okay.
I'm okay with the overhangs because they are creating shade.
Yes.
So,
So how wide is the pool?
Well, we will have to convince our client of not having a pool or relocate it, but it's gonna be hard to relocate it. Maybe we can do it to the west side of the property.
So- or make it slightly narrower.
If the setback allows.
Make it-
they're gonna have to
Well-
redesign either way.
But
I was fine with it.
the
I was fine
cantilever,
with
the
everything.
overhangs, and the
But-
orientation of the house is the most important factors for
Wait, so
us. So we
Commissioner-
can work on the pool.
But Commissioner Commissioner Stevenson, you changed your mind, so you're not okay with the front entrance or the overhangs?
No, because when you change the front now, they can go all the way to the corners, almost to the street, and then it changed that setback as well. So, no, it's just way too long, and
So
it just doesn't make sense.
who is it hurting?
Sorry?
Who is it hurting?
What do you mean, please,
Who is it hurting by saying no? Why are you saying no? Who is it injuring?
It's just not the way it is
But
designed,
that's
the
what a
lot.
variance is for.
Correct, and that's why I can say
To
yes or
allow
no.
for something
Uh,
that is
the
out
ma-
of the ordinary.
Please, go ahead.
Excuse me. The main reason to project the house with this orientation, there's no ways to propose, a very contemporary, tropical, modern architecture design if you don't orientate the house in the long way. Because if you do it the other way, you're not going to allow to propose any of these elements that are going to provide heat mitigation. So not having the opportunity to have the front in the long side of the property is just gonna kill this.
Let me ask you a question. If you went back and you designed the house smaller, right? With all things staying the same, but smaller, so that you no longer
Then
need
there's no issue.
the variance for the pool. Do you understand what I'm saying?
We are willing to sacrifice the pool.
Okay, so then if that's the case,
Not gonna
that makes it even
sacrifice.
easier for me.
Not gonna-
So if the pool, Commissioner Stevenson, if the pool then is no longer an issue, you still are not supportive of front entrance, correct?
Yeah, I'm not supportive of variances.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
It-
Okay,
Hold on,
so,
this makes no sense.
but
You're
wait a
gonna
second,
build a
wait,
new
wait,
construction, and then they're sacrificing the pool in Florida?
one second.
Please, this is not logical.
Right now, procedurally, Vice Mayor made a motion. Do we need to vote
We
on it?
need a second to be able to vote.
We
Okay.
need to clarify where we
So
Right,
are.
we
what
need to, yeah,
is
so let's,
Your motion that you made.
let's go one by one, because, so the first variance that's requested is the orientation of the house. Can we get a vote on that?
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm a
let's do it.
no,
Let's do
For an
Mauricio.
informal vote, just so we know we have the votes.
Informal? Okay.
so I'm a no.
I'm a yes.
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 Okay,
Okay.
so orientation of the house is fine.
Right.
Number two is the pool setback issue.
No.
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 Okay, so that fails.
Yes.
And then the remaining ones, and Amy, correct me if I'm wrong, those all deal with the encroachments, the next four all deal with the encroachments of the overhangs onto the setbacks.
Right. Commissioner?
No.
Yes.
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 Okay, so
Okay.
so now you can move in second for the resolution as amended.
You want to make a motion as amended?
So moved.
You want a second?
But
If
the
you don't-
result
If you don't
is-
second, then,
I want to clarify the result.
The
If I
result is no
second,
pool.
It goes down.
Everything
in
is
flames.
everything is granted except the pool
Yes.
Correct.
setback. That's the result. And if we don't get a second, that it all fails.
Mhm.
Okay. Make the pool a little
We're
smaller.
fine with that.
okay.
Make your pool a little smaller and save the house.
All
We are
Okay,
creative.
Making
We're
a
gonna do
second?
something.
Okay, second. All right. Mauricio, can we get a
Yeah.
roll call?
Vice Mayor Lama,
Yes.
Commissioner Joseph,
Yes.
Commissioner Stuyvesant,
No.
Commissioner Viscara,
No.
Mayor Svechen.
Yes.
The application is approved 3-2.
This is a learning opportunity for next time for us to have these sort of things separate.
Well, the point, we were
Thank
trying
you
to
so
save,
much.
because there were so many variances, and I know you didn't
but we
want
ended up
6
spending
separate
more
items.
time
I
Trying
understand.
to get clarification.
So we'll do
thank you.
variances, each one for a
Okay,
resolution.
thank you.
But then we're just gonna group them together and do them together.
Well, okay, next item, please.
Okay, now we're into ordinances first readings.
Yes.
6A is an ordinance amending ordinance number and it cut off, excuse me. Approving budget amendment number BA 242504 to the city's motorized vehicles and equipment budget for the 2024-2025 fiscal year. The general fund, street construction, and maintenance fund. Authorizing the city manager to do all things necessary to implement the terms and conditions of this ordinance, providing for an effective date.
Mr. City Manager, please go ahead.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this is a budget amendment that essentially would allow us to allocate monies to purchase vehicles that we originally had planned for fiscal year 25-26, to purchase them this year. And it would also allocate $230,000 to install cameras in the elevators at the Government Center, PCP, Heritage Park, and the Gateway Park pedestrian bridge.
Okay. Do we have any public speakers?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Questions or comments from the commission? Take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Third. Mauricio?
Yes. Vice Mayor Lama,
Yes.
Commissioner Joseph,
Yes.
Commissioner Stuyvesant, Commissioner Viscara,
Yes.
Mayor Svechen.
Yes.
The ordinance passes on first reading. Second reading is scheduled for May.
Okay, next item.
6B is an ordinance creating Chapter 4 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Sunny Isles Beach entitled Special Recognitions, providing for legislative intent, providing for definitions, providing for types of recognition, providing for criteria, providing for codification, providing for an effective date.
Okay, this is yours.
Yes. So Mayor Commissioners, this ordinance comes based off the discussion that we had during last month's workshop. It incorporates, or it creates rather, a policy for the issuance of special recognitions, which include keys to the city, proclamations, and certificates of achievement or acknowledgement. Everything that we discussed is incorporated. The only thing that I will point out is that it was suggested that instead of there being a limit per meeting, that it be an annual limit, where it was for 12. But we have 11 meetings throughout the year, so we reduced that number by 1 to 11. So it will be 11 total per commissioner annually.
Okay. Do we have any public speakers?
No.
All right. I believe that we spoke about this at length, but is
But
there
I
any-
do, yeah, I have a few
Please go ahead.
comments. Okay. I understood that we said no limits, that we know how many, like, usually, like I say, I passed like 8 months without any proclamation, and then I needed 2. Again, so I think that requirement of limits of 11 proclamation, I'm not okay with that. Also, like I said before, the restriction to former or current city elected officials, I think that is not okay either, especially for former, not for current, you know. And also, members of the media, what is the reasoning behind not allowing proclamations to members of the media? And what is considered a member of the media?
So media would be the general definition of mass media, which would include newspapers, news stations, things along those lines. Mass media, more so to speak. It wouldn't necessarily encompass, let's say, someone that has a social media page and they disseminate information or news for the city or for any other municipality. So that's not. Doesn't cover that.
But exactly, but even like mass members, media of like somebody that worked in Channel 7, Channel 10, and is one of the residents or something, and God, he won a Pulitzer, let's say, for something major that he did, or Emmy Award. Why we cannot recognize a member of the media? I'm not okay with that, you know. So members of the media, firmer, current elected officials, also not okay. And I think we do have to clarify when we say former current city elected officials, it seems like city of Sunny Isles Beach or city everywhere, which is like 5A in both subsection A and B. For the keys of the cities and also for the proclamation, in the 5A, we say former or current city elected official. They can be from any city or city of Sunny Isles Beach.
No, again, so that restriction would be for city elected officials, not for any other municipality. So,
City of Sunny Isles Beach.
Yes. So, for example, the concept behind having that restriction, as I mentioned last month, is you're giving a key to a friend of yours that doesn't live with you. that key signifies that they have the right to come and go as they please from your house. So when you're giving a key to the city to a dignitary, you're essentially inviting that person to come to the city as they please. So it's sort of that type of recognition. When it comes to former elected officials, once an elected official, you're always an elected official. Once a mayor, you're always a mayor. Once a commissioner, you're always a commissioner. So that recognition should really be reserved for officials or dignitaries that live outside of the city.
No, I know, and I understand the thought behind, because like it was clarified the last time. Like I said, I'm okay with the current elected officials not getting it because they're in the current role, but somebody who is being he was in office like 10, 20 years ago, and maybe has now a big nonprofit and is doing a big change with the turtles, the dunes, or you name it, it will be good to be recognized, you know? So I'm okay with the overall, except for those three things. The limit of 11 proclamations per calendar year, I'm not okay with that, and I think in the last time, I thought it was clear that we were not going to put the limit, so maybe I misunderstood. I'm not okay with not being able to give these proclamations to the cities to members of the media. The same thing that I'm not okay with taking the right, or let's say the privilege, of giving also these proclamations or keys of the city to firmer city elected officials. Again, making the recognition that is City of Sunny Isles Beach, not city any other city. Okay, so with those three changes, I'm okay with this ordinance.
Okay. Anyone else?
I'm okay the way that it is.
I'm okay with the way it is as well. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, the only thing about media, and I think we need to be very careful there and perhaps get into more detail, is that you also don't want to recognize someone from the media and then somebody's running, you know, to have a campaign, let's say, to get reelected, and then they're getting favors from that media entity or that media person. So we need to be very careful. I understand your point because, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people that live in this city that work in media, and yeah, if they do something great, they should be recognized. But we also need to be very careful that, you know, you're not giving them some sort of, you know, recognition, and then
In a
you could get
self-serving
into
way.
in a self-serving way, where if that elected official is up for re-election and then they're getting all this free media space or airtime or whatever, so we need to be very careful with that.
But I think it says here that it cannot be requested by a commission, or should be saying any elected looking for office seeking re-election. We have it already. That's C, the restriction number C. So that way we cannot have that quid pro quo.
Here, just
You know?
wait a second. I think we're making this much more complicated than it needs to be. Mr. City Clerk, can you please clarify if there is someone that we feel as a body deserves this and potentially is on the off list, we can still
Vote
Yeah.
against it.
So there's an approval process that's provided for both the keys to the city and proclamations. So all of these will be approved by the commission. Even though there's a restriction, doesn't mean that it can't be brought forward for you all to
consider.
discuss and consider.
Okay.
The only caveat to that is we are codifying this, so you would be violating your ordinance. This isn't just a policy
No, I
where
understand.
you're modifying your policy, but this is an actual ordinance that
No,
you're
I'm
going to be.
I'm trying to, what I'm doing is that I'm answering Commissioner Stevenson point of if someone goes out and does something like wins a Pulitzer or something that you don't normally do, it's not like they're going to be completely prevented from getting some sort of recognition. And right now, we have still, no matter what, the recognition of the special recognition that we don't even need to vote on.
Correct. So for clarification, so if we want to give it to somebody, Alan, to your point, then we will have to request a variance to give the proclamation to somebody.
No, variances only work for your land use regulations. You
Okay,
can't-
so what will be the procedure if we want to give it to a member of the media or to a former elected official
You couldn't.
once this is codified?
You couldn't.
No, we cannot. That's his point. We
Unless you
cannot.
violate it, you mean you would be openly violating
Which
your
is
code.
my point. We are putting restrictions to ourselves that is going to preempt us of giving this recognition to somebody who deserves it. So, and it's very easy. We just need to take those lines out. If we take those lines out, because we are talking about the what if somebody's going for re-election, and what if corrupt people is going to do corrupt things, regardless of what. So here, why are we taking our rights and the rights of the future commission to give those proclamations of keys to the city to deserving people? I think it will be a lot easier, like I said, if we can take out that restriction or limit, which is 3D, and also if we just take out members of the media, because I understand for-profits and lobbyists, that is a no-brainer. But members of the media, they should not be taking their privilege to get
So
this
you have to write
recognition.
in exceptions possible.
Well, yeah, well, if that is a thing, you know. And also to former elected officials, just remember that all of us at some point, and some of us sooner than later, we are going to be former elected officials, you know. And we are taking the rights of the future elected officials and the past ones as well. So it is very easy to make it a little bit more broad and not so narrow, so we are not taking the rights and privilege of the people in the past and the people in the future. So I will be okay making the motion with those three amendments or changes.
Yeah, no, I'm not supportive of that at all. I think that sitting up here, we already have that privilege, and I don't think any of us should be looking at the future to get some sort of proclamation or keys to the city.
That's not what I'm saying.
No, but you're saying that for anybody here that's going to be coming out of office, we're taking away this from them. I don't think.
Future and past people as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm very comfortable with the way it's written. If you feel very strongly about the 11, I can make a concession, you know, to bring that number up. But everything else I'm very comfortable with, because I think that it's not about
thought we would
corruption,
bring
it's
it
about being
down.
self-serving.
11, so that's a lot of proclamations
That's
a
an
year.
average of
understand.
one a month, and you don't put one up every
I'm
month, but what, you want to make it 12?
I'm trying
Put it every
to
month.
make a concession.
Okay.
You understand? So anyone else have anything else? No? All right, so I'll take a motion.
Motion.
Need a second?
Second.
Mauricio?
Commissioner Joseph,
Yes.
Commissioner Syverson,
No.
Commissioner Viscara,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Lama.
Is the media
It stays.
stays? Yeah, I would like to see some amendments to this. I would say no.
Okay. Mayor Svechen,
Yes.
the ordinance passes 3-2. Second reading will be scheduled for May.
Okay. Next item, please.
We are on to resolutions. 9B is a resolution terminating the existing agreement with Payphone Technologies for a mobile payment program for parking services, approving a new agreement with Pay by Phone USA, Inc. to provide mobile payment program for parking services.
Mr. City Manager?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this is for our Pay by Phone app. We use a piggyback for this, and the city of Miami Beach renegotiated their agreement, and we are in agreement with bringing that to you.
Okay. Are there any public speakers?
No, ma'am.
Any comments? I'll take a motion.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next item, please.
9C is a resolution authorizing the city manager to negotiate and execute a Fifth Amendment to the agreement with Lighter Up to install holiday lights and decorations at various locations throughout the city, provided said agreement is first approved as to legal form and sufficiency by the city attorney.
Okay.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, we had extensive discussion regarding this at our workshop, and I'm really not sure how it ended up. So I don't recall what you all decided in the end.
I think that
Susan,
we
you
had
remember?
consensus, so,
I do. It would
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
what was presented originally at the workshop on
right,
Tuesday.
okay,
Which is
Yeah.
the 270, I think the 279, 180. Mhm.
Yeah.
okay. Any public speakers?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I'll take a motion then.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item, please.
9D is a resolution approving a Fourth Amendment to the agreement with Academy Bus for motor coach transportation services.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this is a Fourth Amendment to our agreement with Academy Bus. They are the company that we use to transport campers, students, etc.
Okay. Any public speakers?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Take a motion then.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next item.
9E is a resolution approving a Second Amendment to the agreement with MT Cosley to provide non-exclusive structural inspection and plan review services on an as-needed basis.
Mr. City
Mayor,
Manager.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this approves a second agreement with MT Cosley. They provide building code, structural plan review, structural services for us.
Do we have public speakers?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Take a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You guys falling asleep?
No, it's cold.
9F.
Got cold in here,
9F is a resolution approving an agreement with Bosch Enterprises for the purchase and installation of one lifeguard tower.
Okay. Mr. City Manager.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this is approval to purchase a new lifeguard tower, which will replace the existing tower at 163rd Street.
Okay. Do we have any public speakers?
No, ma'am.
And just for the record, I wanted to ask the same question I asked during the workshop. What's the projected lifespan of this tower?
They said 25 years.
Okay, perfect.
I do have a comment about it.
Go ahead.
I am in support of this, and actually I'm in support of buying an additional one. We have this light tower in 163rd, and the next one is in 158. So the whole strip from 163rd to the south part of Sunny Isles there is a big gap in the middle. So we need an extra light tower. We spoke about this in the past. If we are buying one, I think we should order two and start the process to make it possible to install one in between. That'll be kind of behind Oceania and Trump Towers. So that area in there to consider to put there also a tower is like a really big gap, and it's almost like a blank space in between. And our lifeguards, they do an excellent job. Regardless, I have spoken to them about the need to have another tower in there, and they've been very, very happy with that with that idea. So I don't know if we can do it here to order two instead of one, and if we need a budget amendment, we can bring it maybe in the next meeting. But I would like to see to order two so we can also service that area.
Let me ask a question. I'm supportive of that, absolutely. But what does that do for staffing? Does that mean that we now have to hire?
So I had asked actually, because of your comment at the workshop on Tuesday about, is there anything else that we need to buy before prices go up? This is one of them. They even told us that if we didn't get this one that is on for approval in April, they will not honor this price in May.
Okay.
So I had asked Ocean Rescue about, is there a need? We have three south of the pier. There are three.
But very close to 163rd. There is 163rd.
There's by the pier.
Correct.
Then there's behind Siam.
Correct.
Which
exactly.
is the one getting replaced,
Correct.
and then the one at the south
And
end.
then all the way in the end. So I'm talking from Siam to the end of Sunny Isles, then we have a very big gap.
So when I asked them, they actually needed one on the north side of the pier. If
Right,
they were
that's
going
what
to
I've
add
heard
another
as
one,
well.
that's where
Okay,
they
so
had wanted
we
it.
order three.
There's a big
I will
gap.
be perfect. Let's order three. I mean,
Okay.
this is something
If
incredibly important for us, And I know we are going to need budget amendment. We need more staffing, etc. But if it's something that I think overall we always agree on is safety. And right now we're talking about the beach. We're talking about how there is more people coming to Sunny Isles in general and to South Florida, etc. So I think, this is going to cost less the lights that we're putting, that we just approved, that just putting lights for the holidays, okay? And this is going to be there for over 20 years, and it's going to be able to save life. So if we need one in the north, and we know we need one in the south, And I know this firsthand because that's exactly where I go to the beach with my children. And I like to be close to the lifeguards, clearly, so for safety purposes. So I know where I don't want to be because it's like very far away one from the other. So, and we understand with the tariff and everything, the prices are going up. I also see this like a no-brainer. Let's put the order for whatever is needed. If we need an amendment at the end, I'm okay with that, with the budget amendment. So, but I think it just makes sense.
So Susan, when would this be delivered?
I think they said 6 to 8 weeks.
Oh, so fast.
Okay.
Pretty fast. But
Very fast.
may
But the
I
price is
suggest
going up.
this?
Please, go ahead.
I mean, these towers are old. We could definitely use replacements.
Right.
So for the sake of tonight,
Mm-hmm.
if you would like to add 2 more.
Yeah.
We actually did get a proposal this morning for 2 more, so I
Okay.
can actually give you that number. And then let's run the numbers, because it's personnel, it's equipment, it's vehicles, and it's an ongoing expense.
Right.
So we could discuss that during the, through the budget workshop. We could put a program mod together so you can actually see what that fiscal impact is of adding that, and then you can make that decision. If you choose to add an extra one, then we add all the staff and everything else that goes with it, or we use these 2 extra ones as replacements for the older ones,
Okay, I like that
for
idea.
the sake
Good.
of purchasing them
All right.
while the
Okay,
price
so
is the
3
same.
total, correct? Okay, good.
All right, so,
Good idea.
wait, hold on.
You're not adding 2 more towers to this contract, though, right?
Yes, we
We're-
would be.
That is what they're asking.
Yes.
Well, is that, well, 2 things. One, we can try to change the number, and we'd have to change the contract. You'd have to give us a number, a not to exceed number, to approve tonight, because if it exceeds,
Do you have the proposal you said?
I do. It's 185,500 for 2 more towers. So if you want to add
So it's a,
200,000 to this contract,
I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yes.
I would like to make the motion
185,
with the
you said?
amendment.
Oh, so call it,
185 for 2 more, yeah.
200 in addition
I
to
thought
what
we're
you
talking about
currently
3.
have. One is already
Correct.
on here. I'm saying 200
Right,
additional.
so we're adding
93.
2.
okay, so Commissioner Steubenson, do you want to make that amendment?
and just
Yes.
Okay.
another question. Before we can commit to the contract, though, has this money been budgeted, though?
No.
Okay,
it's
so
not.
we
It would
can't
require a
expend,
budget
you
amendment.
can't expend and contract for this without it being budgeted.
All right,
Okay.
so how can we do this so that we don't miss the opportunity to get, to move on this? Deputy manager, could we vote, or attorney, could we vote on this and then give the direction to go and negotiate for the other
We
2?
could,
And then
and-
ask for a budget amendment in May?
Could
Well-
we, City Attorney, may I ask, could we bring back the budget amendment that we just
Correct.
discussed
You-
and approved?
You could do that. You could reconsider and re-vote on the budget amendment. You're still gonna have to wait. It takes 2 readings. So you're
Understood.
still gonna have to wait for that second reading.
Yeah, but we're
And
not
then-
writing
In the
the check
meantime, you
yet.
can place the order.
Wait, hold on, let him finish.
And then state for the record tonight a not to exceed number, keeping in mind that we got a quote. I don't know if you're adding contingency or not.
I would-
Just so we have a number, we don't have to come back if it exceeds that number.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay,
So-
so, wait,
Calculate
one
it.
second. So procedurally, Mr. Clerk, we have to reconsider the budget amendment?
Well, let me ask another question. So could we amend the ordinance, the budget ordinance between first and second reading without having to reconsider it tonight?
You could, I mean, without conferring with Tiffany, I hate doing that, but you probably, yes, you could. You're still gonna have to wait for that second reading
Isn't
anyway.
that the purpose of second readings?
Yeah.
To make adjustments in between?
Yeah, for the most part.
Okay, so we're
Especially if
safe.
we discuss it
Exactly.
today.
Okay,
And you haven't advertised it yet, right?
No.
Okay.
Okay, so you're making a motion as amended?
as amended, yeah.
Okay,
And I'll second it.
okay. I think we're all in favor? Yes?
Aye.
No, I'm sorry, I'm confused. So as amended, I thought we were going for the 1 and then amend the budget in between readings. And No?
No, we're gonna amend the budget
To purchase 3
for the next reading.
and the budget. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna do both. Okay, fine.
And then the only clarification is what number are you authorizing? What amount of money are you authorizing?
200, huh?
302,850.
Which is 102 today?
102,850 today, right
Correct.
now, for one,
Correct.
and then an additional 200,000
Perfect.
for the other two.
Is that okay, or you want to have more wiggle room and to put
So that we
250?
don't risk
Yes,
anything.
correct.
Yeah.
Let's,
Go to 250? Anyway, it's going to be the number that it is. Correct. Yeah.
Add a little fat to it.
Yeah.
Wait, just one at a time. 350.
No,
The
no,
total, I'm saying.
total is going to be 350, correct, yeah.
So total.
350
okay.
even.
Yes,
350 even.
yeah.
350,000?
not to exceed
Correct, not to exceed
350,000.
350,000.
For the 3 towers.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry, but I wanted to make sure that we also, because in the contract, the locations are specific. Can we identify exactly the locations we'd be putting these in?
We could not do that tonight. We would have to confer with Ocean Rescue.
Correct.
Okay.
You can put one on the north and one on the south of the city, south end and north end.
As long as
They
we
might
don't
be
get into a
replaced.
They
situation,
might be replacements.
Yeah, they might be.
as long as we don't get into a situation where management decides it goes here, here, and here, and you guys may not agree.
No, I think for the record, we made it clear where we would like to see it, but if it doesn't make sense, then there would just be replacements.
Of course.
Anyway,
In
comes
May, we
down to
could
Ocean
bring to
Rescue.
you the recommendation as to where they go for your
Of course.
approval.
Of course, okay. All right,
And the last thing,
please.
can we know the lifespan of the ones that we have right now? So it might make sense to also, in the future, and now that we have in the budget discussions, maybe in the short term, we're gonna need different ones to be replaced or refurbished or whatever. So if we can have the life expectancy of the ones that we have currently.
The remaining life expectancy,
Yeah, of the
right.
one that we have right
Yeah.
now, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, Mauricio, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
We're doing 9G, H, and I together.
Yes.
Okay.
9G is a resolution rejecting proposals submitted in response to request for proposals number 241201 entitled Elevator Maintenance and Repairs. 9H is a resolution approving an agreement with Otis Elevators for service and maintenance of 6 hydraulic elevators located at Government Center, Pelican Park, and Heritage Parking Garage. And 9I is a resolution approving an agreement with Kone Inc. for elevator service and maintenance for elevators located at Gateway Center.
Okay. Do we have any public speakers for any of those items?
And we do not.
Okay, so, any questions? I'll take a
No.
motion.
Motion.
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Next item?
9J is a resolution approving an updated off system, excuse me, the title was revised. This is one of the ones that changed. So 9J is a resolution terminating the existing off-system construction maintenance agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation for the rehabilitation of the Atlantic Isle Bridge, approving an updated off-system construction maintenance agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation for the rehabilitation of the Atlantic Isle Bridge.
Any public speakers?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
9K is a resolution awarding invitation to bid number 2501012 and approving an agreement with Waypoint Contracting, Inc. to provide construction renovation services for the annex building located at 18050 Collins Avenue.
Okay. City Manager?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this is for the build-out of the annex next door. And as you know, this property has been vacant for almost 5 years now. This is the third time that I'm presenting the item. This is for the build-out of the annex for the property next door with Waypoint Contracting. This item was delayed before due to interference and false claims of manipulation and secret meetings. I want to start by sharing, and I'm going to put it on the screen. This is Resolution 2023-3593. On November 16th, 2023, there was a resolution proposed by one of you to try to redirect the purpose of the annex and putting it back out to bid. As you can see, this proposal failed by a majority vote. I highlighted the failure on the screen. Conversely, same date, November 16, 2023, resolution number 2023-3598 directs by majority vote that the annex space be used as an office and a cafe. I've asked them to put that up on the screen for you. This resolution was passed by majority and approved, and if I can read section 1, it says, "The City Commission hereby authorizes the city manager to repurpose the property located at 18050 Collins Avenue to provide office space for use by the building department, reserving a portion of the property to be used as a cafe for the sale and purchase of food and beverages, to further do all things necessary to effectuate this resolution." We moved forward based on your direction, and to date we've expended $430,849.17, along with countless staff hours. Further delay could cause us to lose a crucial contract that would yield between $160,000 to $200,000 a year in revenue to the city. My recommendation is, as it's been from the start, to approve the item and move it forward without further delay. There's no reason to discuss it any further.
Okay. Do we have any public speakers, Mauricio?
No, ma'am.
All right. I know that you all discussed this at length at the workshop. I was not able to attend. I was very, very sick, but I did watch it, so I know that you had a very lengthy discussion. I don't know if there's more discussion that's needed. Okay.
Well, I would say that in the packet, the memo that was provided, there's another resolution that was Exhibit 6 that that's where the discrepancy was based on the allegations that were made. What we were presented with was from the original packet that said that the city manager is hereby directed to issue and advertise, etc. And that was in the original packet that we received. But in the discussion in that meeting, we amended it, and I think that's where the error was made. That Commissioner Stuyvesant was looking at the original one and not what was actually executed. So I can understand that error, but we have been nothing but transparent. And I think there was actually another, the Mayor Goldman's last meeting, which was December 22, also we were there very clear. Those were allegations that were made, but we were very clear. Reject the bids, extend the lease. And it was 4-1. Commissioner Stuyvesant was the one who voted no on that, which is okay. But then she stated that that's not how she voted, and she stated that we voted on something else. So I just wanted to make sure that we were clear that error was made. I don't know if Commissioner Stuyvesant would like to retract her statements, but the record is very clear that we have been transparent throughout, and there's been no sneaky, it's changed, but it's been always transparent and done in the open. So go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate that clarification. I think that often some of this becomes somewhat tangled when there are so many conversations and so many motions. And certainly I've been on the side that has not prevailed when I've made suggestions. And I know that it's not the best feeling, but unfortunately, this is the will of the body is based on the majority. So I don't think that anyone on this body is looking to make any statements that are untrue purposely. Not at all. I think everyone is looking out for the best for the residents of Sunny Isles Beach. I believe this to be true. But I think that we do need to move on and not have this discussion all over again, because I think we need to make a vote.
I'm not looking to have the discussion.
No, I understand, and I appreciate your
However-
clarification.
However, these documents were entered into the record,
Right,
and they're wrong.
I
And
appreciate
so
that.
I would like to ask Commissioner Stuyvesant to pull this from the record so that we don't have erroneous information as, you know, as part of the record.
Okay, if I may.
Please,
Okay.
go ahead.
I'm not retracting anything because I don't have to, okay? So from the very beginning, the building of Tony, which by the way, there is the only clarification is that it's not been vacant for 5 years, Stan. It's being used by a contractor that we rented to. So in 2022, when we rejected the 2 bids, they were never presented to us. If we would have accepted, which the only mistake that I made is that I didn't remember that I voted no for it. And I said that I voted yes, thinking that we were gonna bid against the restaurant. Yeah, I didn't remember how I voted, and I'm very proud that I voted against, because I've been very consistent that, and I'm sorry to get whoever gets offended, but the legacy of whoever votes to make the building, to make Tony Roma's part of the bureaucracy, and to make another office building in a prime location, the legacy of who voted for that is that we stole that building from the residents of Sunny Isles Beach. In 2022, we have a company who wanted to spend $3.5 million of their capital to make that a beautiful restaurant. And they were expecting to give to the city around $400,000 annually that we were going to be receiving. So now only we keep the restaurant and we give another restaurant to our residents. Now only we're going to be making money every year from it, but they were going to build a beautiful restaurant that belongs to the residents of Sunny Isles. Today, if this passes, finally, we are going to nail the coffin, and we as a body, because I'm voted against, clearly, we're going to be the commission, the legacy that stole Tony Romas from the residents of Sunny Isles Beach. That is the legacy. I might have making a mistake clarifying my vote, and that's what I'm putting the record straight. Yes, I make a mistake. Not how I voted, how I say I voted. So, sorry, my semantic, okay? So, like I said, it's not being vacant, it's been making money. And when I said that things were doing with our knowledge, yes, the city spent $100,000 choosing a broker, for that broker to choose a restaurant. And we were not part of that conversation, okay? So we pay $50,000 for the city broker, and we pay $50,000 for the broker of the restaurant. We were not part of the discussion. Actually, I only find out when they came after the fact to request the money. So, and we never had a set which restaurant they were bringing. Okay, so we only are here, we are not here just to say yes to what the staff bring us. We are here to protect our residents. Like we were talking right now, that if they need more lifeguard station, we should bring it to them. The same thing. That restaurant belongs to the residents of Sunny Isles Beach. They're not going to have a restaurant anymore. They're going to have a little cafe, which is probably going to be beautiful because Crema does a very nice thing. But we are going against the trend in the whole nation. We are increasing the bureaucracy. We are taking a money-making prime property on Collins Avenue and putting more bureaucracy in there. Doesn't make sense. I'm being consistent. I don't retract one word that I said. I'm really passionate about this because I don't want to be part of the commission that stole Tony Romas from the residents of Sunny Isles Beach.
Okay, thank you. And I can hear your passion. I am in no way agreeing with you that this commission would be stealing anything from the residents of Sunny Isles Beach. That's a very strong words to use. And Tony Roma's is gone. It's been gone for a long time. We can't bring it back. And I know that there's a lot of nostalgia. I would like to have Denny's back, but these things are gone. So anyone else?
Yeah, you were wrong about how you voted, and you were wrong about what we voted on. Those are two things that you said that were wrong. And so if you don't want to retract the wrong documents, your legacy is going to be wrong documents in the record. And Tony Roma's is already in the coffin. We're not putting nails in it. It's in the coffin, it's in the ground, it's gone. We're not taking a restaurant from anybody. We're providing a restaurant, not the kind you like, that's okay. And we don't have an obligation to provide a restaurant. We have an obligation to serve our residents. And that's what we're gonna be doing. So I'm perfectly okay with like being the one who put that final nail, even though it's already got like 600 in it. I'm okay with that. But the record is wrong. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to do the right thing and retrieve wrong information. You want that to be your legacy? Fine. If we can put an asterisk on this anywhere, I would appreciate that, but so be it.
And I need also something else on the record. It is how we went from $8 million in 1 year to less than $1 million in the building restricted fund. I got an email today with some clarification about it. We have a whole month to put it on the record. Maybe we have to put it on for the next meeting or in this one. But just it will be interesting to know if that's $1,250,000 that it says here that we already spent in furniture. We spend it, we're going to spend it when it's ready. So there is a lot of numbers still that are not being clarified. So this is just, the last thing I want to say about this, which is very sad for our residents, is that all the expenses of that state-of-the-art building department has to be funded by the fees of the building department, which means for anybody, any resident of Sunny Isles Beach or property owner or commercial, whenever they want to build a new house or change a toilet, you have to pay a fee to the building department. That building department now is going to multiply exponentially their expenses. So the toilet that you may today paying a fee for $200 is going to be a lot more in the future.
We don't know that to be true.
That's
We don't know that.
That's not a speculation. You are building.
I
haven't finished. I haven't finished, please. I haven't finished.
Wait. Let's all speak one at a time. But like I said, I don't want to rehash the meeting that you all had.
Okay.
So just please.
Okay. So it's like I say, it's state of the art. Okay. So and they have to pay rent for that property as well, the building department. So yes, we are going to be increasing. I mean, the numbers they don't lie. According to the record, we went from having almost $8 million in the bank as a fund for the building department, and in 1 year went to less than $1 million, and we haven't even built it yet. So if you don't tell me that the expenses are going to increase exponentially, that doesn't make any sense, because the numbers, they don't lie. From 8 to less than 1 in 1 year, imagine what is to come. So yes, we are doing a disservice to the people of Sunny Isles. I'm not crying about Tony Roma's. It's about taking a restaurant and a money-making building, prime property almost in front of the beach in Collins Avenue, from the residents of Sunny Isles Beach. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Please, but
Yes.
no reason to repeat everything you said at the last
I would-
meeting. Thank you.
I would like to say that we have spent so much money in this city on consulting fees and expenses for projects that don't go forward. We now are talking about the project at Heritage Park that's not going to happen, thank goodness. How much did we spend on consulting fees regarding that project?
Nothing.
Nothing?
On the
Didn't
Heritage
we,
Park
didn't we
project?
show pictures of
That was
building
through
that
the
might
Parks and
occur?
Rec master plan. So we did spend money on the Parks and Rec master plan, but that was a citywide project, not just Heritage
Yes,
Park.
but there's a portion of that could be broken out regarding heritage.
It was a citywide project, a project you all approved.
Okay, but we had a consultant that worked on heritage for a certain fee.
No, it was the one fee for the Parks and Rec. Part of the Parks and Rec master plan was to make recommendations for the next 15 years. And
Okay.
that was a component of that study.
Okay, so it's my opinion, knowing this commission, I know already how they're going to vote. My vote will be a no.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
You going to say something?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so first of all, this was a long process. I mean, I revisited you know, some of the videos. I remember what had transpired. I went back and I saw some of the documentation, and we had come to the agreement that it was gonna be a dual-use building. Whether you voted yes or no, the body, the commission voted that it was gonna be, or decided that it was gonna be dual use. We were gonna have a restaurant and we were gonna have the building department under the same roof, okay? So that's one. Then two, the rejection of the, some of these tenants there was due because they were looking to have restaurants that were gonna be open till late and that were not gonna be able to, let's say, coexist with, you know, the environment and the community around. They want to stay open till late, have music, etc. So that's one, and then that is a major problem because
that would have
speaking.
been a bad thing?
Well, if
Commissioner
you have loud
Joseph,
music yeah.
Vice Mayor has the floor.
Yeah. So, yes, if you have, they're open until late and they do have music and they do have dancing until late, that would have been an issue because I get many complaints from the people that have apartments behind our government center, you know, from the restaurant there, the Russian restaurant, that sometimes they have people that stay till late and they're drinking or they're still eating and they have music. So I get complaints from those apartments. So we don't want those complaints, okay? And then regarding the broker, point number 3, I mean, that's part of the business. Brokers get paid. I mean, brokers have to get paid for their job. So they get a commission, okay? So that is that. That is something very standard. So there's nothing shady there. I don't see it that way, okay? And then I understand, Commissioner Stuyvesant, that you're passionate, but I mean, also we need to be very careful and think before. Being passionate does not mean that you're going to accuse us of stealing. So I do not appreciate that. You're basically calling me a thief. I'm not stealing from the residents. I was always very firm in my position. I didn't even want a restaurant there. Why? Because I think that the residents are going to be better served if we have the office space that is conducive to being efficient and to working better, okay? Now, we came to the agreement, we came to the decision where it's going to be dual use. Fine, that is fine with me. We're still going to be having rental income from that, okay? So I don't appreciate being called basically a thief because I'm also passionate. I could turn around and say that I don't know why, for what purpose you're advocating for a restaurant, 100% to be a restaurant there. I could also make false accusations. I could be very imaginative with certain things, but obviously passion, you know, comes with responsibility, and we need to be thoughtful before we say something, okay? If you have an accusation, well, that's fine, but you know what? Explain yourself.
Okay, so how about, okay, I'm asking that we just make it very, very short, because this is, we're not, this, just let me remind you all, we're not voting on what this is going to be used for. We're voting on going forward with the construction. The use has already been voted on.
Well, that's part of the problem, because we voted to make it a restaurant.
No.
Yes, we did before 2022, when Dana Goldman was the mayor. We voted to bring, and that's why the bid went out. And then one of the reasons that we say now that they wanted to be to extended hours, how do we know that? We never even saw their proposals. That's what the staff told us. Part of the things, we never saw the proposals. We didn't know the menu they were bringing, the hours that they were going to have. We don't even know the name of the 2 restaurants. I know because I looked for that information. So afterwards, so we did vote as a body to make it and keep it as a restaurant. Then it was changed after Larissa became the mayor. So the vote and the direction changed. It was going to be restaurant, and then you guys decided to make it dual use. I'm okay with hiring a broker if we are telling beforehand. We find out, at least I find out about the broker, and I might be wrong, maybe somehow it was given that information to us and I didn't read the memo, but I found out about the broker after the broker was hired, after the broker had even decided which is the restaurant that it was going to be. I understand that if we hire a broker, we had to pay for it. We never, as far as I can remember, were even informed that we were hiring a broker. So, and yes, we are here to better serve our community. I think our community is very good being served with a very good and strong building department that we have. Actually, we have here in the agenda to even hire more services from outsourcing to better serve our community. So we are not serving better our community by taking a money-making machine. And who's gonna complain about the noise there? On one side you have the city hall, on the other side you have a gas station. In front of it is Aqualina. I don't think they're gonna be able to hear anything with the windows that they have. So yes, we did change the rules of engagement.
You have the
We
apartments
decided,
behind us,
yeah,
Okay,
we decided to make it a restaurant, and then you guys change.
Okay, so thank you.
I would like to say one
no,
more
I'm going to
thing.
call a vote because we're not
Just
going to
One
rehash
more-
this whole.
One more thing.
You have one comment, please,
Okay,
because this is getting
so-
ridiculous.
I would like to ask the city manager. We're doing a temporary building on the north side of City Hall, is that correct? Temporary structure for the building?
Go ahead.
It's temporary, yes,
Yes.
because our conditions are overcrowded now, which is
And how
why
many
we want to
people
build
will
the space next door.
How many people will be in that building?
I couldn't tell you the exact number.
Okay, but it's going to alleviate some of the burden of the crowded space that we have, correct?
Temporarily, yes.
Okay, so in the meantime, we have the library that we're putting on a 1-year or 2-year lease with a clause that we can terminate. That's absolutely going to be written in, is that correct, Alan?
That's another comment.
But it's going to be with a terminate clause as well.
That needs to be negotiated, because if you just let them in there for another year and they just spent X amount of money to
Well,
refurbish.
I just voted
if I-
on something where I was told there's going to be a terminate clause.
There's going to be, again, it takes two to tango, right? They have to agree to it. It hasn't been negotiated yet. And the thing is, if you're only going to do it, if you do a year lease, let's say you want to cancel within a year.
I don't care if it's a 5-year lease, as long as there's a terminate clause.
That's what I'm trying to explain. If you decide to terminate in the next 6 months or in the next year,
We're not
there's
going to be
gonna
ready in 6 months.
hypothetically, if you have a 5-year term with options to renew and you terminate before the end of that 5 years, there's going to be a cost to that. They're not going to walk away and say,
They're
we
not-
just spend this amount of money.
But they're not paying anything.
Commissioner Joseph?
But they're paying
The
for the renovations, and they've paid for the renovations. Typically, in a termination clause like this, they're not just going to walk away and say, thank you, you can keep all the improvements.
No.
I'm just saying it's going to
Here's
have to be
the-
negotiated.
I just voted on the idea that you were writing in a termination clause.
I'm not saying I'm not writing in a termination clause, but it has to be negotiated. I can't tell you what that termination clause is actually going to encompass. And I think this was at the workshop, right? So it's going to have to come back to you
Yeah,
anyway.
it's coming back to us. This was a discussion, Commissioner Joseph, but can we just stick to this,
Okay.
please, because we
Well,
need to move on. I
need
want to call the
complete my
vote.
point, though.
Please hurry.
Because we now have a plan in motion to possibly move the library in 2 years. Possibly, if we get moving. I know we're very slow, but I'm not happy with our
We
being.
have
don't-
no
we don't
plan
have
to
that-
move the
We
library.
don't have that plan at
Okay.
all.
Well, we could possibly, if we get the Richelieu, some idea for the Richelieu. I'm looking forward in this city, which unfortunately we don't do a good job at. But we have a plan to extend the lifespan of our building department with the temporary building we're doing. We don't need to rush into the old Tony Roma's building. Okay? We can go back to renting it the way we were renting it to the contractor
or whoever else.
Commissioner Joseph,
Okay.
your comments
This-
are noted. We've
I
already
understand.
voted on this. We're not, that's not what this is
Okay.
considering. We're not
I'm
considering
just
that.
doing forward-thinking ideas for the residents.
I appreciate that, but this
Okay.
item has already been voted on, what you're
Okay.
discussing.
And I understand what's going to happen in the next few minutes. So, but I'm saying that does not benefit the residents of this city.
Okay, thank you. I'm calling a vote, so I need a motion.
So moved.
Need a second?
Second.
Mauricio, will you do,
Yes, ma'am. Vice Mayor Lamo,
Yes.
Commissioner Joseph,
No.
Commissioner Stuyvesant,
To waste $4 million, no.
Commissioner Viscara,
Yes.
Mayor Svechen.
yes,
The ordinance is adopted 3-2.
okay. Next item, please.
9L is a resolution approving a payment to Bell South Telecommunications LLC, doing business as AT&T Southeast for Phase 3 of the Golden Shores Utility Undergrounding Project.
City Manager?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this is a payment to AT&T in an amount not to exceed $62,000 as part of their undergrounding in Golden Shores.
I had asked during the workshop, one second, do we have any public speakers?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'd asked during the workshop, I don't know if you were able to get the information, what is our, the cost of the undergroundings thus far? I know this is just one of the bills, but I think it's important to remind everybody the kind of investment that we've made.
I sent it to you all in an email.
You did?
Yesterday, and the answer is $28,253,949.51.
That's crazy.
1 cent. Okay. Okay.
And going.
And go.
Going.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll take a motion
No, I have a question.
about this AT&T bill.
Yes. So for this 56,000, what are they doing that they haven't done already?
Commissioner, this is work that has already been completed. This invoice came in almost 2 years ago. We had a consultant. He disputed the charges. We went back and forth with AT&T for quite some time, and they provided all of the required backup, and we're obligated to pay this. In our original agreement, city attorney can confirm, our original agreement stated that this is an actual cost contract, and both parties agree that we will be issued a final bill that we would be obligated to pay. This is the final bill.
Okay. So this is the final bill.
The final bill for Phase 3 of the undergrounding
How many more
project.
phases are you
There's only one
expecting?
more,
One
but
more phase.
I think we might be done with them.
Okay.
This is the
So-
only outstanding bill with AT&T that I am aware of at this time.
Okay, so originally they were going to do copper, but now they've consented to do fiber, correct?
I believe you're talking about Golden Shores.
Golden Shores.
This is the Collins Avenue undergrounding.
This says Golden Shores.
Where?
Isn't that 9L?
Yeah. Golden Shore Utility Underground.
That's a typo. This is for Collins Avenue.
Yeah. It's a Golden Shore.
It says Golden Shores.
Yeah, on the top of the
On the title, on the title of the agenda that you're looking at, that is a typo. It is Golden Shores, but the resolution in the book, if you look at the actual resolution, it's for Collins Avenue.
And the memo.
Mine says Collins. The memo says Collins.
Mhm.
Mine says, the memo says Collins.
I think it's when you get the printout versus.
Yeah,
your-
the online version has Collins also.
Yeah, I have the online.
Okay.
This one say,
Okay.
This is where Mauricio says it's better to have the
Yes,
electronic
it is.
version versus the paper.
Okay.
Okay, any more
So-
questions?
As long as I have it open, can we discuss Golden Shores?
This is not what we're discussing right now. We're
It
voting on
says
this.
Golden Shores, so I have the right to discuss Golden Shores.
You know, that's very clever, but no, it's a typo. So since it's a typo, the answer is no. Would you like to make a motion on this item?
No, I'd like to have my question answered first.
What's your
Because we
question?
have a big issue.
What's your question?
Golden Shores is not moving along with AT&T, and I'd like to know why.
Okay, but that's not part of this discussion.
But according to 9L, it gives me the permission to
It
question
doesn't,
Golden
Commissioner
Shores.
Joseph, it's a typo. If it said you won $1 million,
Susan?
no.
Commissioner, I'll be happy to get you an update on the Golden Shores project.
Yes, please do.
Tomorrow or Monday.
I'm looking for an answer regarding why the fiber is not moving along.
You can share with all of us, please. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next item, please.
9M is a resolution approving renovations to the restaurant located on the Newport Pier.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, this is based on our workshop earlier where we heard from the Newport Pier and approves in concept their renovations to the restaurant.
Do we have any public speakers?
No, ma'am.
Okay, we discussed this earlier. I'll take a motion.
Just to make sure the clarification that the shaded area is not part of the, because there is not, the exhibit 8 is not here, so we cannot see the rendering or anything, so just to confirm that the shade area is not part of this.
It is confirmed. It is only the restaurant, not the cantilever and
Perfect.
not the shade.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay, Commissioner Riscari.
Just to go on the record, I was happy with the shaded area.
So was I. Yes?
Just to go on the record, I'm not happy with the shade
Okay,
area.
that's not. Commissioner Viscar made.
I made a motion.
Would you like to make a second?
I'll make a
Okay,
second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 9N.
9N is a resolution approving an interlocal agreement with Miami-Dade County to perform traffic engineering functions for signing and marking.
Your city manager?
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, 9N and 9O are related. They're interlocal agreements with the county. If you recall, a couple of months ago, I brought to you 3 items. We recommended that you approve at least 2 of the 3. You did not, and therefore the process has been delayed in doing our traffic study for speed study. So in order for that to move forward, the county is requiring that these 2 interlocal agreements be approved. One is for traffic engineering, for signing and marking, and 9O is traffic engineering related to traffic calming.
Do we have any public speakers?
No, ma'am.
So we're combining 9N and 9O? Is that what I'm
Yes.
hearing? Okay. Do we have any speakers for 9O?
We do not, but let me read that title into the record, Mayor.
Okay.
9O is a resolution approving an interlocal agreement with Miami-Dade County to perform traffic engineering functions related to traffic calming on city's local streets.
Okay.
Please.
Yes, so I just wanted to clarify that in 9N, the traffic signing is not to change our signs, correct?
Correct.
And that's on the record.
I believe that the speed limit is not changing, correct?
If
For
I
now.
may add,
Yes.
approving this allows you to keep your specialized signage, which right now is technically not permitted by Miami-Dade County. So,
This buys us time.
and then, correct, the speed limit is not changing now. They've agreed to let us do these 2 first.
Right.
We install traffic calming devices, we do a new study, and hopefully that gives us the results we're looking for.
Perfect, just, to clarify that we are not changing the speed limit,
Yes.
yes.
We are not.
Perfect.
Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
9P.
9P is a resolution creating a donation program to support nonprofit organizations that align with the city's mission and public purpose.
Mayor, Vice Mayor, members of the commission, these next 2 items, 9P and 9Q, one is to establish the donation program that you have directed us to for nonprofits, and 9Q is the creating of the sponsorship program to support nonprofits. We'll be happy to answer any questions you have.
So we're combining 9P and 9Q?
We shall try, yes.
Okay, do we have public
Okay,
speakers for either of those items?
We do not, but I need to read the title for
Okay.
9Q. A resolution creating a sponsorship program to support nonprofit organizations that align with the city's mission and public purpose.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the commission?
I only have a question, because I don't see the limit for in-kind donations. I see the limit for the monetary and also for the sponsorship is $10,000 per application, $5,000 right now for donations, but the in-kind doesn't have a limit. I mean, I could not find it anywhere.
Are you asking what the limit is?
Yeah, because it's not here. Like, we don't have a limit. Like I said, I found 5,000 for monetary unless it is 5,000 for monetary or in kind and in kind. But I didn't find any in kind, so I went up and down. I look everywhere. Like I said, sponsorships, $10,000 per application, 5,000 right now for the monetary donations, but in kind is it doesn't have anything.
So on page 4 of the donation and in-kind document, the first bullet on page 4, funding and limits, community and in-kind contributions are limited to $5,000 per organization per year.
So both, or
Both
either
of them.
monetary or in-kind?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'll take
And
a
this
motion.
allows for every year the same organization, right?
Yes,
So-
it does.
So I'm just going on the record, organizations that come every year can count on my vote every other year.
Thank you for clarifying that.
There you go.
Okay, would you like to make a motion?
I will move.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next. R, please.
9R is a resolution expressing opposition to Florida Senate Bill 918 and Florida House Bill 1225 relating to employment of minors.
Commissioner Viscar.
This is mine. I went over it a little bit in the 3 o'clock meeting as part of the legislative update, and to give you a heads up that I will be bringing this forward, so, can you hear me?
What was that?
So yeah, this basically loosens the child labor laws, and, like we talked about, this afternoon, that's not a desirable outcome. This is particularly dangerous to the vulnerable populations. My concern really is you know, there's children who are loved and protected and cared for by their families, but then there's children who aren't, and the child labor laws are intended to protect them. And by removing them, we're now exposing them to being exploited. In particular, this one, it removes the limitations on working hours for minors 16 and 17 years of age. Under the bill, those minors are no longer restricted from working at night or for more than 8 hours a day when school is scheduled the next day. Those minors may also work for more than 30 hours a week when school is in session and for more than 8 hours a day without 30-minute break. So they're explicitly saying you don't need a break. And it removes all employment restrictions in a particular statute for minors 14 and 15 years of age under particular circumstances. So it's just loosening it for the older teenagers and the younger teenagers. And it's not, I mean, it's moving, and like I said in the afternoon, the next week is the last week of committee, so hopefully it's not, doesn't get scheduled and doesn't go anywhere. But I find this bill unconscionable and beyond offensive. So if we care about kids, we should oppose this.
Are there any public speakers?
No, ma'am.
Any questions or comments from the commission?
No.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I was extremely shocked when I saw this bill. And yeah, I can't believe that they are, you know, they would allow for these kids basically to work more hours per week and also to work longer hours or be able to work, you know, at nighttime hours, which, you know, the current laws, and I recall when I entered the workforce, I was about 15, 16, I had to clock out at a certain time, you know, so I think those laws are there or were there for a reason, and I think they need to be kept in place to protect kids, and kids are kids. Their number one priority is for them to be healthy and to go to school and learn and be able to, you know, perform well in school.
Alex, you're not looking at the backstory. This is in preparation for an apple plant coming to Florida.
For what plant?
Apple.
Okay,
Apple plant?
okay, stop.
All right, so,
And listen, Commissioner Viscara, you and I are with these kinds of things are normally aligned. I don't agree. I feel differently. I see it from a totally different perspective because I think that, and what we decide here is not going to change it either way. And I can appreciate your concern, but for me, it's the kids that are working and they need to work, which we know there are many families where the kids need to work, and not necessarily because for the parents, the money they're making may be the only money that they get. And me as someone that started working, I think I was like 11, I didn't have any, I don't know where you started working, Vice Mayor,
no,
but.
I was working when I was 12, babysitting and whatnot.
No, I'm saying like
but
Well, I had just moved.
So, but let me just finish because I don't want to
Yeah, go
belabor
ahead.
this. And again, I can appreciate what you're saying, but for the fact that this allows now 13-year-olds that are going to be 14 to go get a job at McDonald's or at Publix, a lot of the kids that I speak to in our community are they're ambitious. They want to start working. And so I can appreciate that this could potentially hurt vulnerable communities and that this is not necessarily for us.
The 14-year-olds can, and by the way, they're not going to be working the midnight shift, right? And there are avenues for that. And if you're in a hardship position and the family needs a 16-year-old to work, there are waivers for that. So, but what this does, I think about the foster kids. That's the population that gets me the most, because there's wonderful foster parents, and God bless them, really, because we need so much more than that. But there's some that are already being just used for the check. And now those bad foster parents can then exploit them by sending them to work. And even if they're bright and they can manage in school, they're destroying those futures. There's no need to remove these protections for those kids. We're making it worse for them. Our kids, they're 14, they want to work, and a lot of us have businesses. Tax laws allow for that, by the way. And our kids don't want to work the midnight shift, right? Nor would we let them, because they have to take algebra in the morning. There's already ways that teenagers can work and can work well and safely. But we can't think about our kids. Our kids are fine. We have to think about the ones that don't have the benefit of loving families. And, so I don't think it's a big leap here to support bad legislation.
Okay.
I actually got a message about this item, and I'm going to read it. He says, supporting Florida Senate Bill 918 and House Bill 1225 justified because these bills aim to modernize and streamline regulations governing the employment of minors, thereby enhancing workforce flexibility while maintaining essential protections. These bills remove outdated restrictions on work hours, for 16 and 17 years old, allowing them greater opportunities to gain valuable work experience without compromising their education. Senate Bill 918 eliminates specific time and hour limits during a school period for these older minors, while the House bill allows 14 years old to work during summer vacations and adjusts restrictions for younger minors to align with federal law, ensuring consistency. It says also that additionally, both bills remove the Department of Business and Professional Regulations waiver authority, reducing bureaucratic hurdles, which is something I will always support. These changes empower minors, particularly those in non-traditional education programs, to contribute economically while preserving safeguards like meal breaks and exemptions for specific roles, fostering a balanced approach to youth employment. Also, they told me that it's being installed in Tallahassee, and they have no expectation that it's going to move forward.
Right. Okay.
May I ask something? Where's that text from that you just read?
He sent it to me by one of the aides of one of the representatives.
Okay.
I can share with you.
Yeah. It sounds good, but it's really a marketing sales pitch.
Clearly, yeah.
And it's
on the two
it just
sides.
hides Yeah, well, yeah, you're on the good side of what?
No, on both sides. The one that are against it, they say why, and the ones that in
No, but I
support.
mean, you gotta look at the facts. I mean, you gotta look at the facts that,
Oh, I read it too.
you know, they are, yeah, I mean, they're looking at extending the amount of hours you could work per week for these kids, and then also working into late hours. So, you know, I mean, to me, this is a no-no. I mean, no matter how well they write, how beautifully written those pitches are, it is what it is. You know, we need to see through that, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
because these are politicians that perhaps are in some sort of bind, and I don't know what lobby groups or interest groups are behind that, and we need to understand the context of this.
But you know-
We need to protect the kids. I don't see this as an opportunity for 13 or 14, empower what? I mean, we need to protect them. These are young kids, these are very fragile, you know, minds, and we need to protect these kids, period.
Yeah, clearly. But for example, the kids that they want to work during summer vacations right now, before they cannot get paid.
They
If
can
want,
work.
but they cannot get paid. Under 16 right now, they cannot get paid. And by the way, right now, we have, for example, in IPIC, we have our young people that I know working until very late at night. So they always find the loophole how to make them. Like I know our ATM students that they live in our city, they are working in IP because I see them, you know, at night. And so like I said, like I said before, whoever is gonna behave bad and explode any loophole, they're gonna do it. And again, this legislation is not moving anywhere. It's not gonna pass.
No, that's
it doesn't
fine,
have
but
support.
then if that's the case, we should go back to the Industrial Revolution and then just have kids, you know, working in these factories. Yeah.
All right, so,
Okay,
okay, so I take a motion,
I'll
So
make a motion.
second by,
I'll second.
okay, all in favor,
Aye.
opposed? It's okay. All right, next item.
9S is a resolution expressing support for Florida Senate Bill 430 and Florida House Bill 1607 relating to cardiac emergencies.
So this is another one I talked to you guys about earlier. I was lucky to have been invited to that subcommittee meeting where but I didn't go for that item, but I was very impressed by it. And it's one of the sponsors is actually a Hialeah representative. So it's basically requiring the presence of the portable defibrillators in every school and the training that goes along with it. They said there's like a 3-minute window where you can really make a difference, and having the right equipment and training can save a life. And what they said in the hearing was four students, I think they said 4 students a day that have a cardiac incident in the state every day. I really had no idea that it was that common. So this is an easier one, and it's moving very well. So it's expected to, I think this one will make it.
Mauricio, I'm assuming we don't have any public comments since there's no one here. Thank you, Commissioner Viscara, for bringing this. This has been something that's actually, I was surprised, has not been done earlier. This has been discussed by the National Heart Association for years and
The
years.
National Heart Association was at the subcommittee to offer support, but these are the kinds of things that you just assume are in place, like you know, and if you don't have a kid with that kind of issue, you just assume it's in place, and it isn't. So.
And often you don't know, actually, if your kid might be.
Well, that
might
was
have
one of the
issue.
stories.
Right, that you don't know if there's a heart defect.
Yeah.
And for the record, Deputy Manager, can you just please let us know where our defibrillators are?
We have them on every floor, but yes.
Every floor, and at Pelican.
At Pelican, at Gateway.
And at Heritage.
I believe we do have them at Heritage.
Okay. And our staff knows where they are.
All of our staff is CPR AED trained.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, I'll take a motion. Commissioner Viscara, would you like to make a motion? I need a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next item. Is this me?
Yes. 9T is a resolution supporting Florida Governor DeSantis' Executive Order Number 2544 and the establishment of the Executive Office of the Governor Department of efficiency team, proclaiming the city of Sunny Isle Beach's intention to fully cooperate and submit to state financial audit, and for the city to engage in and lead its own initiative by continuing to conduct its own financial audits.
Okay, this is being co-sponsored with Commissioner Stuyvesant. I just want to say a few words. We talked about this during the workshop, but for me, this is not just supporting the governor's executive order, which we don't have a choice. We have to abide, and I believe the manager confirmed that we've already sent a letter to the governor saying that we will. This is in no way implying that we have any issues with our auditing, with our budgeting. I think that we have incredible professional people. We're lucky to have them. This is more about a change in philosophy and taking it a step further. I'm actually surprised that we're not already using AI in a lot of what we're doing, not just in budgeting, but potentially looking at our processes. I can tell you that every single one of my kids, including the 12-year-old, feels very comfortable using AI, and that's just the direction it's going. And for us not to embrace that would just be backwards. And I know that Commissioner Viscar had reservations about it. I'm ready. Good. But I want to give Commissioner Susan an opportunity first if she wants to say something about it.
Just that it promotes fiscal responsibility and accountability. It shows that we are looking and we want to be smart with the way we're spending the people's money, because it's not our money. And there is already proof that Dodge nationally has saved a lot of money, and hopefully we can find other ways to be more better stewardships of what we are supposed to be doing. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Commissioner Viscar, did you want to say something?
Yes.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready. I have my counter
So,
arguments that I
I
got
had
from
some-
AI.
I had some questions. I'm sure they said you were right. Okay, so just a question. Now, obviously, there's an executive order. Our job is to comply. Like, I'm never gonna say otherwise.
Right.
But that's not what this is saying, right? Because if that's all that we're saying, I would tell you this is another nothing burger. We don't need to waste ink and paper to say we're gonna comply with the law. So I'm good with the compliance with the law. This says that we will, let's see, the city of Sunny Isles Beach hereby affirms its intention to fully cooperate with Doge, which the state version, I guess, right?
State.
Right? And this is my question. What does it mean to participate in a comprehensive state financial audit? What does that mean? Is that different than what we're already doing?
No, that's exactly what we're doing. But with the governor, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. City Attorney, this just means if they have any questions of us, we are obligated to respond.
Well, the executive order essentially is directed to state agencies that basically directs them to use publicly available information to find ways for efficiency and so on and so forth. There's no directive in the executive order specifically to municipalities, but obviously if typically you want to cooperate with the governor's office, if they do ask for information, that information in any event is public record.
Right.
So you'd have to provide it anyway.
Right, so far I'm not hearing a reason for this, right? Because we would have to comply. If they can't find it, which they probably could, right, by public records request. So I ask you again, what does it mean to participate in a comprehensive state financial audit? What does that mean to you?
It's exactly what it says, that if we are asked to participate in any audit, that we would, but we already do that. For me, this is not necessarily just that. It takes it further. And
Okay.
that's my point. And I know that...
And that's my question. So what does it mean?
So I will say that because I want to be very careful and not to create more work by trying to do this and allocate more resources by suggesting that we need to do something extra, because some different municipalities and different agencies have chosen to actually put together committees and look for consultants and do all the things that I'm trying to avoid. This, for me, and Commissioner Stewart, if it's something different for you, please chime in, is about the philosophy and how we do things. And I would like to know that we are forward-thinking, and so that when there is an opportunity for anyone during the budget process to use AI, that they are encouraged to do so.
So, because I would take that out. I would say, the City of Sunny Isles Beach hereby affirms its intention to fully cooperate with DOGE as part of its ongoing commitment. Because to me, participate in a comprehensive state financial audit sounds extra.
I don't mind taking that out.
Okay. My other one, going two down, whereas the City Commission wishes to implement its own initiative to use artificial intelligence. So we talked about this in the last, when was it? Was it last month?
Last month.
Okay. And we talked about exploring it. Again, I objected because
I know.
I don't trust it. But I was outvoted, and that's fine. Well, out-discussed maybe. So we
Vice
gave,
Mayor was, I think, agreed with you.
we gave the direction to explore it. And I'm okay with exploring. But here it says implementing. And again, we're giving direction. We said we should talk to finance, we should talk to IT. It reminds me of the conversation we had about software, where they're working with it, they have their preferences, and rather than us telling us, you should use this software because we like their logo, or, you know. So again, it's that word implement. I think I would prefer exploring, because we don't know. I haven't spoken to Tiffany or IT. I have no idea whether it's a reasonable request or not. It probably is, for the reasons we talked about. AI but I don't know that. I haven't had that conversation, and that didn't come up in the Tuesday meeting. So the City Commission wishes to implement its own initiative. To use, to me, I don't think we're there. I think we're exploring.
Let me clarify for what that means to me. So for me, it means that if, or rather when, any department, but specifically during the budget process, because as we know, each department presents their own budget and then everything's kind of combined. So I'm looking at it from the practical point of view, and I'll give you an example. So if I am a director for, for aftercare or camp, and I have to come up with a budget for how many soccer balls to buy, so on and so forth. Rather than doing the same old, which whatever that is, I know that it is somewhat antiquated. I know that, for instance, we still use Amazon for certain things. And maybe that's not the cheapest way to go about it. So maybe there are AI tools that person, that director can look at to see, okay, where can I find savings? What tools can I use to be able to for instance, forecast? I'm going to have 30 kids playing soccer.
I'm not against any of
right.
it. To me, it sounds good, but we've already established I'm not the AI person, right? So to me, it sounds wonderful, but I'm not in a position, I don't think we are, to tell finance how to do it. I'd like to hear it from them. So
I agree.
I don't want to tell them, go implement this. But I'm okay with telling them, try it, explore it.
Could we change it to try it?
I am very comfortable with the resolution as it is. It's,
Okay.
I don't see the need to any change. There is no mandate as it is right now. We should not be scared of cooperating or implementing new technology. And I fully trust what the governor and his office, DOGE, is doing. So I'm totally fine as it is.
Let me ask the city manager, or maybe the attorney, the way that this is written, does this in any way tie the hands of anybody that's putting together the budget, or does this more, in the spirit of what I'm doing here, encourage the use of AI with the word implement?
It could be, I mean, the scope of it is a little, because it mixes support for the executive order, but does have language, as Commissioner Vizcarra pointed out, of the intention to fully cooperate and then to also implement. So Is it a directive to the city manager to employ this of his employees? No. But certainly the commission has put in its intentions that it wants it implemented. So, I mean, it could be interpreted that way, but it's not, it's certainly not a directive to the city manager that he has to implement it.
Right, because if we did, we would have to actually list the specific tools and what and how.
Right, and you'd have to probably go through procurement and all these other things.
Right, and that's
you'd have
not
to
what
do.
I'm suggesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Vice Mayor?
Yeah, I have a question. So you stated, Mr. Attorney, that the executive order, the state executive order is intended for state agencies, right? We are not a state agency.
Right, we're not a state
We're a
agency.
municipality. It does not include municipalities.
No, the only mention of local governments is for those agencies to look at to use publicly available information to look at local governments and make determinations or review them and so on and so forth. But there's no directives to local governments themselves.
Okay. Now, so this is basically symbolic in nature if we're voting on this.
Well, not just symbolic, it is a change in a philosophy of how we're gonna go about, for me specifically, I can tell you that when I'm gonna be looking at the budget and we're going through those steps, I'm gonna be using various tools to make comparisons. So what I'm asking for is there be a change in philosophy of how some of our processes are completed at this time.
No, but I'm saying symbolic in the sense that we are going to be supporting this executive order.
Oh.
It does not preclude us from
Right.
saying, you know what, AI is right now a great tool, and we're going to start adopting AI for our own budget, let's say analysis, see where we could create efficiencies, et cetera, et cetera. So I mean, I think we could do that on our own. So, I mean, this is great. It's symbolic in the sense that, we're going to, support this executive order. I just don't understand. Are we going to be reporting, hey, you know what, we're using AI every day. I use AI five times today.
We
and
are participating in their initiative, so
Are
whatever.
we going to be reporting anything to them?
They are not requesting.
We're going to be
No.
opening
They're not
our
requesting right
books
now
to
any
them?
report.
No,
They-
all we have to do is acknowledge it and agree.
So it's
And
symbolic.
our books are open anyway,
You
yes.
don't, you're not
No,
required
they're
to
open.
acknowledge.
They're open, yeah. Mhm.
You're not required to acknowledge it.
Well, we had to respond with a letter.
That was a different inquiry, though. Deputy City Manager,
Yeah.
did you see the
That was
letter that we got from the
pertaining to
governor that we had to respond
Yes,
to?
and we did.
Yeah, I know, but what was the request?
To respond whether we have had any,
Wasn't it like debt? Yeah.
not being able to pay loans or pay bills,
Okay.
bonds, delinquencies.
Yeah, I'm not aware of any other
So
inquiries.
that has nothing to do with this?
No.
Okay. All right. I mean, listen, it's a resolution. It does not include municipalities. I understand your excitement about, supporting this, but I think it's something we could do on our own. We don't need the states, And then I'm always worried about home rule and where do we draw the line, because I don't want the state or any centralized government coming to me and saying, you gotta do this way. And I'm like, no, central government, we know our residents, we know our town better, we need to do it this way. Oh, no. I mean, we always have this fight with Tallahassee.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not what
so
I'm suggesting, and the
yeah,
governor's
but
order
I mean, we need to be
expires
very
March
careful.
2026.
Yeah, no, I understand, but we need to be very careful.
I agree with you. I'm a
on
big
things
proponent.
of this kind, so.
I
And
just
the
don't
word-
want to reject
Yeah.
something just because it feels like it's overstepping some boundary. I
No,
think
no,
that-
I see it as more symbolic, which is fine, it's a resolution. But on the state side, it's an executive order. So, we could support it. It's symbolic, but what I'm trying to say is that we have sovereignty, and we could do certain things on our own too. So that's what I'm trying to say. I mean, you might love the legislature at the state level, et cetera, but we need to tread very carefully is what I'm trying to say, because we need to keep home rule. We know the residents, we live here, so keep that in mind.
So let's go to a vote.
Wait, I also don't like the word submit, because it goes to the home rule thing, like submit to a state financial audit. We can cooperate with an audit.
We already have to, though.
Well, we cooperate with
Yeah.
it, whatever. I don't think this is necessary. I think we're already doing what we're supposed to do. And you're potentially opening the door to, yeah, I don't, sorry, I think in the end it's nothing burger, sorry.
Okay, no problem.
I'm a
Okay.
no.
Okay, but we have to get a motion.
I know, but I'm still a no.
Make a motion.
Okay, second? Okay.
You are against Dodge, Jerry?
He's for home rule.
No,
Go,
I'm
Jerry.
asking about Dodge.
All right. This motion fail? Excellent. Motion to adjourn?
No, we have discussion, don't we?
No, what discussion?
Yes, I have
done.
a discussion.
There's
Okay.
no
I have a discussion item.
We don't have any discussion items.
Well, we have, let's see, 11 is Citizens Forum, petitions, and other communications. So I have something to discuss.
Can we finish this motion, though? Are we done?
We're done, yes.
Yes,
The motion
okay.
has
Fails.
officially died, but we don't have
Okay.
any discussion items.
I
We
have-
did that during
I
our,
have a discussion item.
okay, it needed to be added in the beginning of the meeting.
No. No. This is
I'm okay
Citizens
with
Forum.
adding it.
So,
Go on the other side?
okay. So in any event.
Wait, let's do this correctly.
No, procedurally, the commission would have to agree.
Okay, so I have something to discuss. Is everyone open to hearing it?
Technically, you're supposed to identify what
it's
it
less
is.
than a
Wait, could
5-minute
we-
discussion.
Could we, please, let's do this correctly. Could we identify your discussion item? Please
Yes, it
make it
has to-
clear so we all know exactly how long we're
It
going to be
has to
here.
do with a recent event in the city.
What recent event?
It was at an event at the Russian Chabad where there were elected officials from throughout the county that were invited, and the commissioners from Sunny Isles were not invited.
Okay,
So I
was
would like
this,
to have a discussion regarding that.
was this a city event?
It was an event that was conducted by the mayor.
Okay, this is not city business.
It's a discussion item,
It's not city business.
but it's a discussion item.
I understand, but I
So
want to
let's-
but I want to get clarification from the attorney.
Yes,
Why would we discuss an event that happened in the city that has nothing to do with the
because there
city
was an,
business?
okay, can I answer?
No, I'd like to get the attorney to please clarify.
Well, I mean, I can't really opine on that because I don't have the facts of the situation, or I don't know what the issue is, but the commission would have to vote to add it before it's discussed.
Okay.
Okay, so does anyone want to have the discussion?
I'm okay. Yeah,
Just
I
make a
mean, we
motion
could so moved, I make a motion
to discuss.
to discuss the issue
event.
at hand about the
Yes.
event at the Russian Chabad.
Correct,
Okay.
yes,
Yeah.
okay.
We need a
Just-
second.
Second.
Two seconds, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
Good. So I would like, please, clarification as to, I know that it was a Israeli wheelchair athlete event, correct? And please correct me if I misstate anything.
Okay, I need you to clarify for me what exactly we're talking about.
We're talking about an event at the Russian Chabad,
On what date?
excuse me?
When?
It was within the last 2 weeks.
Okay, the Russian Chabad has many events.
Okay, this was I believe it was an Israeli wheelchair athlete event, honoring Israeli wheelchair athletes. Is that correct?
Again, this is not city business. The
I
Russian Chabad
understand.
has many events.
Okay, it was within the last 2 weeks where there were all kinds of elected officials from throughout the county invited, and happened to have gone to the Russian Chabad Seder. I had many people asking me, who I guess a few of them were present, asking why were there no commissioners from Sunny Isles?
Commissioner Joseph, I can absolutely not answer your question. This is not a city
Well,
event. This was not my event. This is an event, as
This
you
was-
stated,
okay.
at the Russian Chabad.
No, I spoke with the rabbi. This was not his event.
Right.
He
I
rented
didn't
the space.
Okay, so you
and-
know a lot of information. Go ahead.
Well, I know that you were in charge of the invitations, so,
I was not in charge of the invitation.
well, okay. So the person from Israel would not have known who to invite.
I'm struggling to understand your point. So you're saying that there was an event that happened in our city in a private location,
city,
which I
And
attended.
you were on the podium as the mayor. You stated that you were the mayor of Sunny Isles.
I am the mayor of Sunny Isles.
Correct.
Yes.
And you were present.
I go to many events.
I understand that, but you were there.
Are you
and
upset
there
that
was
I
no-
personally
I'm
didn't
not
invite you as
upset-
my
I'm
plus
not
one?
upset. No.
Okay.
That is, it's about being an embarrassment for the commission and the residents of Sunny Isles. And that you did the invitations, maybe, and I was told that we weren't invited because you were censured. And I don't think that was right.
I take incredible insult to what you're saying right now.
That
First
is
of
what
all,
I
you're
heard.
making, we're not going to do this again, okay?
Well,
Let me explain. I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to adjourn the meeting because this is ridiculous. Any one of us here can attend any private event that has nothing to do with the city, as this was. Any one of us here can be a part of that event in whichever way we'd like to be. Whomever is invited to these events is up to the person that is paying for the event, okay? In this case, this was a nonprofit organization that worked with the rabbi, okay, that invited
I
me
was
and
told
that
the
allowed.
rabbi had nothing to do with it. The rabbi told me personally he had nothing to do with it. He just rented the space.
The space wasn't rented. He gave it for free.
Well, whatever the case was, he wasn't a part of the event.
Right, he gave it for free, so he's very much a part of the event. But that's not the point. The point is that it doesn't matter who I personally invited or not. This was not my event. My personal invitations have nothing to do with what the event sponsors or the organizers were doing. There was over 350-something people there.
Correct.
Okay, so about this Israeli Wounded Veterans event, it's not the first time that they are hosting an event here in the city. And as far as I'm concerned, and I can only speak about me, I never been not invited, not informed. Actually, I usually also find out about these events after the fact, maybe for the same reason that Jerry is pointing out, when people ask me, why weren't you there? And I say, well, I cannot be there if I don't even know that this event exists. And I've been told that the rumor, and that this is a sad rumor, is that we, the commission, except for the mayor, we don't want to participate. So I just want to also state on the record that I have never been invited to any of the events of the Israeli Wounded Veterans or any other organizations similar to those, and I have not been able to attend because I have not been invited, not even made aware of the event beforehand. So yeah, it is a little bit embarrassing because it does open the door for speculation, because seeing people, seeing elected officials from everywhere in Miami, in Broward, and not seeing the commissioners from the city where the event is being held, it does give a very bad impression, and it opens for speculation.
So I can appreciate that, and again, I think that this is a ridiculous conversation, but I will say to you, so that you have a better understanding as to who the local officials were. There's people from Aventura that had their own tables and were free to invite whoever they wanted. So I am sorry they did not invite you. They did not necessarily invite their own fellow commissioners. I have no idea who they invited. The point is that this is a private event, and the organizers decide who they wanted to invite. If you knew about this organization, then you were free to contact them. I'm sure they would have been very happy to invite you. That's not the point. This is not something that's decided by me at all. And I go to many events. Many people have tomorrow, for instance, Sunday, I'm going to be going to an event that I was invited to. Is there an expectation that I would force them to invite the entire commission?
Is it in Sunny Isles?
Yes.
Oh, it's in Sunny Isles?
Yes, it's a private event.
Mhm.
That would be ridiculous. How could I do
What event
that?
is that?
It doesn't, it's not the point. The point is that there's things happening. We are a vibrant city, a very vibrant city. There are things happening that are in support of Israel. There are things happening in support of various organizations. We have hundreds of 501c3s here. So yesterday there was an event on Wednesday there was an event at the Kiwanis. Were you invited?
I'm not a part of the Kiwanis.
Okay, you don't have to be. But that's my point is if you would like to be a participant in any of these things, they are not only open, but they would love to have more participation. That's their whole point. That's their mission. It is not my job or an expectation of me to ask every single person that invites me to something, especially when it has nothing to do with Sunny Isles Beach at all, that I would then impose on them and say, you must also invite every member of the commission. Especially when it's not a city event.
Does anyone else have anything to say? No?
Okay, thank
Mayor,
you.
we have the Citizens Forum. We have David Virgil.
Oh. You snuck in, David.
So, good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commission. My name is David Virgil. My address is 17500 North Bay Road, St. Helens Beach. I just want to say I think the additions of the paths at Gwen Margolis Park that connect the benches and tables are a great addition because it helps with accessibility for people with wheelchairs to get to the tables, and it's better for the elderly residents who live nearby. I also remember in the last meeting, someone said the agenda review was a private meeting. It's not private, it's public. The public could attend. It's not on video, but I mean, anyone is welcome to go and record if they wanted to. And also, I got here late today because it was Holy Thursday. I was attending a mass, and it would be great if next year you all could take into consideration if there's a holiday to postpone the meetings or like what's usually done sometimes.
I appreciate that, and I think that we all in agreement because I actually was thinking that this week, but it was a little bit too late when I realized
that's why I was
it.
late. Yeah,
so thank you.
Thank
and
you.
Now I understand why you were not here on your regular seat.
Yeah, it was like the first meeting in
Okay.
like 6 years.
Okay, I expect you to be here next month.
We're gonna mark you tardy, David.
Yes, City Clerk, if you can please.
So just to be clear, avoid
Major.
Good week.
Avoid this week.
This week.
Yeah.
Holy Week.
Avoid what?
Avoid,
Holy Week.
avoid
This week. Good Friday week. Tomorrow's
maybe
Good
we
Friday.
could do it on a Tuesday, I guess.
No, Tuesday.
But is it the entire week that we're looking to avoid,
David,
or?
I know we don't normally do this, but let's just get clarification since you're here. Tuesday is a day as well.
Holy Week is usually the week before Easter.
It's the entire week.
Yeah, and Easter usually follows the Sunday after the first full moon of spring, so it's different every year.
Okay.
So that's
Okay,
a thing.
I'll avoid this
Yeah.
whole week.
Yeah, avoid the
So
week.
it's going to be different every year.
Okay.
Yeah.
But we could, with masses in the evening though.
Yeah, it's in the evening, like at 10
So
p.m.
we could potentially do it earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's actually three major. There's Holy Thursday, Good Friday, and then there's
Easter Sunday.
Saturday the Vigil, and then Sunday. But Thursday is today is Holy Thursday.
Okay. Thank you. All right.
Okay,
You
thank
can
you.
adjourn. Thank you.